muted this whole time. Well, I just said all those things and nobody heard me say any of those things. So, welcome on into another episode of Also Curious on DCU Daily. I'll be reviewing Michael today because I went and just saw it at an early screening, and well, we'll get into that. And I am going to try to keep the spoiler-free review, or the review spoiler-free, so that we're not spoiling anything. Because of course it is an early screening, and so a lot of people have probably not had a chance to see the movie. So we'll definitely get into all the Michael talk. We'll get into some MCU talk. There's, a photo floating around the internet. It looks pretty real, and it's been corroborated to be real. That might confirm, the character that we're probably getting in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Is it gonna be Jean Grey? Is it Typhoid Mary? We're gonna find out, because yeah, it's if Sadie Sink is playing a mutant, then we might just know now. So we'll talk about that. We got some other news regarding the Punisher. We've got to get into some chatter around Spider-Noir. I'm sure John's gonna enjoy that conversation. And then of course we got a ton of DCU talk to get into, because we got a new trailer, everybody. It was true, the rumors were true. Today we did get a Clayface trailer, and we will get into that Clayface trailer. We'll break it down, we'll look for the Easter eggs, we'll try to figure out what this means for the Gotham City of the DCU, and so much more. So to do that, let's hit that news intro and get the show started.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding. You're kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne. I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chords.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
All right, okay, we're getting into it. Oh, the news. We're gonna get into Michael talk in a little bit, but I just wanted to welcome everybody on into the show. Of course, I'm your
Including
host,
me, Dan?
Yes. Get out of here. I don't even see you on camera. I'm gonna introduce myself first. But with me today, I've also got John. John.
Yeah,
is
it
here
just
as well.
took a kind of like you the other day. It took a second to fucking register, but
It's all good. It's all good. How you doing, man?
hello. Oh no, Monique, you didn't cook dinner. That's okay. Neither did I. That's why I have this salad.
I did cook dinner. I just baked some chicken.
Hello,
I
I realized my tummy issues
Hello,
was
Peter
like, you know
John.
what? I probably haven't gotten enough fiber today, so I'm gonna have some fiber. I'll be a good.
That's good. Fiber's always good. Yeah. As I talk about this, I'm getting texted in a group chat about it. And I'll probably give him my thoughts on the movie in a bit. Yeah, so John, it's been an interesting Wednesday, because I just kind of went from like doing one thing to the next, and well, that's where we'll start. Let's start by talking about Michael. So I went and saw Michael today. It was an early screening, and yeah, Shimon, and then there's gonna be some later in the show as well. The scary movie doing some good marketing work.
Oh
on
God,
Michael,
don't fucking
if
remind
that's
me of
anything
that
to go off
shit.
of. But anyway, I went and saw Michael early screening. It's look, like I said before at the very top of the show, I'm gonna try to keep it as spoiler free as possible, because I mean obviously it's like it's the movie about Michael Jackson. We know that's not a spoiler, like Monique was saying, and a lot of the movie kind of covers events that were already known to the public, but I won't, ruin the experience for anybody, but I will go over it as much as possible. John will go to see it over the weekend, so then we can get into his review and all the spoiler talk on Monday. But keeping that in mind, Michael, it's an enjoyable movie. I went and saw it with Fiona, and so between the two of us, it was like a date night movie, and it's we kind of talked about it at the end, like both while sitting in theaters watching the credits, and then after we walked out of the movie theater, we were just kind of trying to figure out, like, what do we think about this movie, because the one thing I will say to its credit, it's around 2 hours long, and that time flies by. So the run, I never felt the pacing per se. The runtime I think was pretty good for the movie, and overall, I thought the movie was a little superficial. Like that was the word that Fiona and I came up with, that it was kind of surface level, in the sense that everything was fairly sanitized. Obviously, the Jackson state and the Jackson family is very heavily involved, and Antoine Fuqua, who the director of the movie, wanted to, make sure that the family was involved. So, we know that everything is a little sanitized, and it's not just Michael Jackson whose story is fairly sanitized. It's like pretty much every character in the movie. You don't really get to see the rough edges, right? The main conflict in the story is ultimately ends up being, the friction between Joe Jackson and Michael Jackson, the father son issues that a lot of people are aware of. And even then, they don't go to the point where they show, the whole allegations of, like, he would beat his kids and all that stuff. Like, they don't get into any of that. Just the conflict stays very high level, and the movie for the most part celebrates the Jackson 5, the Jackson family, and especially, of course, Michael himself. They do start out pretty early on in his career, when he's still with the Jackson 5, and then he does his like first solo album, and then they cover the last the Victory Tour, which was the last time the Jackson 5 performed together, until they broke up. And I think they did reunions after, but anyway. And then, of course, you get to see Michael Motown 25, and we get to see him in London at Wembley. So you get to see for the most part a younger Michael, but the movie ends with him, and I guess more of the peak Michael Jackson in the 90s, I believe. So all around, it was fun, because if you're there as a Michael Jackson fan and you want to watch a movie that celebrates the artist, then it's for you. If you're there because you want to have a very visceral, true to life retelling of Michael Jackson's story and the greater family, this movie definitely does not do that. It's a very polished, clean, sanitized version of the life of Michael Jackson. They do, of course, at one point when he had that incident that caused him to have third-degree burns, and was in the hospital for a while recovering. They do include that in the story. Outside of that, I would say, oh, hello, Eric. How are you doing? Outside of that, the movie is very well paced. I enjoyed it. And like I said, as a fan of Michael Jackson's music, the movie has a lot of his iconic performances. And again, from pretty much the early half of his career, like going from the Jackson 5 into, of course, into the not even really the first half of his career, solo career, but you could say that. I mean, it does span a couple of decades. I don't know. Maybe the producers of Bohemian Rhapsody are the same, but I mean, Antoine Fuqua is the one directing. He did not direct Bohemian Rhapsody, as far as I remember. But yeah, and they did reshoot the entire third act of the movie. If you guys remember, we talked about it. There was a report in Variety not too long ago, which kind of documented the idea that the Jackson estate actually, footed the bill to reshoot the entire third act, because the third act originally involved an individual who later had a settlement over, sexual assault allegations with Michael Jackson. And as part of the settlement, there was a clause in that which basically called for that individual to never be able to be featured in a future Michael Jackson movie, because of course even back then everybody knew eventually Michael Jackson would get a biopic, whether it was posthumously or otherwise. And because of that, and somehow the Jackson State missed all of this in the script, and when they went and shot the entire movie at Lionsgate, so then they had to go back last year, which is why they delayed the movie by a year and reshoot the entire third act. And the Jackson State, it was on their dime, basically. They had paid for it, so they're actually financially vested in this movie. They have I think somewhere around a 10% or so stake in the film. So obviously, if you're going into this movie to watch it for, like I said, a very, true to life retelling of Michael Jackson's story, this is not it. Also, Jafar Jackson just leans into the role, and the movie just is at its very best when, Jafar Jackson is, dancing and performing much like, his famous uncle. So, and the song, the sound mix, everything there works really well. And overall, it's a fun time at the movies. It's a matter of what you're looking for, because I know a lot of people are going to go into it and be disappointed, because I've seen the reviews. Some people are like, this movie is very surface level, it's very superficial, it feels hollow. And you know what, I understand what they were talking about. I really do get that. The one thing that did bother me about this movie in terms of the pacing, it did feel at times like, while the pacing was good, maybe it was a little too quick, because it never quite sunk too deep into any of the dramatic moments for them to really sink in, outside of a couple of confrontations with the father and son between Joe Jackson and Michael Jackson. And for the most part, it just kept moving, and to the point where it at times felt like, there was just the movie felt like a combination of vignettes of Michael Jackson's life that they sort of strung together, and you sort of went from you could almost count the chapters in the movie as if I was watching it on a DVD, and I can skip forward, and so the structure was somewhat predictable in that way. Obviously, having only seen it once and just seen it recently, I'm giving you my first thoughts and reaction to the film. Watching it a second time, I might be able to notice a few things that I didn't notice the first time around. But all in all, I thought it was a fun time at the movies. Is it as enjoyable and as fun as what I thought Bohemian Rhapsody was? No. I feel like Bohemian Rhapsody still is the better biopic. It's the better movie. A lot of it is because, you do get more visceral with the story of Freddie Mercury and the band, and then I feel like the structure of Bohemian Rhapsody felt better and more of a complete story. This movie definitely feels like it's been taken apart a few times and put back together again. So having said all that, I was surprised to know that, those 2 hours kind of flew by. So while I'm saying the pacing was good, the structure of the story, the way it's told, and that whole CGI monkey looked very CGI most of the time, it works. It works for what it is, and it's enjoyable. If I was telling you an honest opinion I would have liked a much more entertaining version of a Michael Jackson movie. And especially this, adding that cinematic aesthetic to his iconic performances, which again, Michael Jackson always had this very this keen sense for cinema. He used to call his music videos short films, and then the Thriller and everything right there. So I just didn't feel like this movie felt very cinematic at times when I wanted it to feel cinematic. And for example, when he's performing at the Dodger Stadium with the Jackson 5, or when he's performing at the Wembley, those moments felt so they didn't really hold on those moments, whether they were big epic moments or more smaller character moments. When I say smaller, I mean more quieter moments. The movie was just busy moving the plot forward at times. So again, the 2 hours do fly by. The movie's quite packed. It jumps across quite a few years, a couple of 2 to 3 decades almost. But at the same time, I felt like if they had maybe added an extra half hour to this movie, I still would have felt like it would have worked. It just, they would have been able to hang on some of those moments better. But you never know. Maybe, that other character that they had to take out, the scenes for that character might have been interspersed throughout the movie, and so some of what I'm feeling is just that stuff is missing, or it's just an editing thing where the movie doesn't quite hold on to some of the moments, or moments like this. There's moments in the movie when you're meant to feel like, oh my god, these are mic drop moments, or this is Michael Jackson, and it doesn't quite hit the way in which I expected it to. But I will say this: after pretty much every performance that they had in this movie for Michael Jackson, this auditorium I was in, the audience was clapping almost as if they just saw a live Michael Jackson concert. Or even when they got to specific moments in the movie where they were like, oh, this is where we're at now, they're like, woo, they're anticipating those things. But given that it was an early screening, you got to imagine that pretty much everybody who was at the theater with me, they were big fans of the movie and they wanted to be there on day one or day -1. So, the reaction of an audience when you go to see this on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or a Monday, a Tuesday, might be a little bit different, because those folks, it wasn't the first choice, go to see this movie as soon as it comes out, experience for them. But yeah, the movie is a lot of fun. If I had to give it a star rating, I would say for me, this is a 7.5 out of 10. I was kind of leaning between 7 and a 7.5. I think the musical performances are what I was there for the most part, and those impressed me enough that, you know, I would give it that. I mean, Miles Teller being in this movie is something I kind of forgot about, but, you know, he plays Michael Jackson's manager, and it was great. The chemistry there was really good. Jafar Jackson, for his part, does a pretty good job of replicating not only the voice and the mannerisms, but also obviously he, you know, knows all the choreography, and obviously he sinks into the role the way the trailers promised you that he would. So yeah, it's a fun movie. Is it my favorite movie of the year? Far from it. Is it my favorite musical biopic? Definitely not. But all that being said, I understand why this has a 36% Rotten Tomatoes score, because, you know, with over 100 critics having rated it, most, you know, critics feel like this movie kind of feels like it kind of fell short of its promise in some ways. Because I will say, in the moments when this is meant to feel grandiose, sometimes it doesn't. In the moments when it's meant to, you know, deliver on the emotion, it sometimes falls short. And there's moments when the movie really does shine, but all around, yeah, it's not quite like the feeling I got at times about like how hacked up it might have been and put back together again, like with Captain America 4. It wasn't that bad, and there's no obviously bad VFX, you know, shots or anything like that. But like moments like this, when he's performing and people are passing out in the audience in Wembley, we go through that, but the cinematography feels a little uninspired, and those moments sometimes felt a little unearned. Whereas when you see it in Bohemian Rhapsody, it's being built up for a while. I feel like, again, this movie just felt like the structure of it wasn't quite all the way there, even though the intentions were. Because like I said, it felt like vignettes at time that just kind of leaned and, you know, interspersed into each other. So having said all that, I still enjoyed the movie, and obviously I'm a little biased because I'm a big Michael Jackson fan. So when I say 7.5 out of 10, I feel like if I wasn't a Michael Jackson fan, I would probably be giving it like a 6 out of 10. But, you know, it was a fun time at the movies, and a couple of hours that I thought were well spent. Would I go see it a second time? I'm not entirely convinced just yet, but you know, I enjoyed it for what it was. So yeah, I don't know, John. Anything you can glean off of that review? By the way, hello, Stacy.
Not really. I mean, it's a shame that it's kind of this sanitized kind of movie, but enjoyable one. But we'll see. I'm still curious about it. I still hope that I'm gonna get something out of it. But if I don't, then I'll tear it a new one on the show. And just because I'm biased and I like Michael Jackson, and I was trying to pull for this movie for the longest time, it looks like it's just not going to be the case, because it pretty much sounds like every problem I had with Bohemian Rhapsody is like done here tenfold. And so I'm probably not going to be a huge fan of this one. But maybe I'll get some more enjoyability out of it. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those are all true things. Like it's even more sanitized than Bohemian Rhapsody was, you know? Like, it's because you felt like Freddie Mercury felt like a character that had internal conflict and went through like a character arc. In this movie, what I was missing, really, if I'm really thinking about it, Michael Jackson's character, like Michael Jackson doesn't really go through a character arc. Other than the closest thing that he had to a character arc was trying to get the courage to really move past, or go beyond the wills of Joe Jackson, his father, and that ended up being like the biggest conflict in the movie. And even then, it was very, you could tell like they didn't quite turn it up to 11 or as high as they could have, on the scale of like in terms of conflict and drama. They didn't play it up, or they certainly didn't even play it up to the level that probably it was in real life. But Coleman Domingo still being the amazing actor that he is, and Nia Long along opposite him, they still made the most of what they were given to or asked to do. But I could have I would have expected more. I certainly did expect more. Terrence, how you doing, man? Saying, do you think by the movie being surfaced with this story, could it affect the movie's success? Well, this is the thing. Here's what I will say. If you are a fan of Michael Jackson, you will enjoy the hell out of this movie, because it does, glaze the hell out of Michael Jackson. I mean, in all the right ways in terms of the performances, because Jafar Jackson shines when he's, replicating the choreography and the mannerisms and just being Michael Jackson essentially in the film. but where the movie kind of falls short is the character drama and and a good character arc, a good story structure. Like I said, you definitely feel like they left a lot on the floor or had to take a lot of stuff out, which they did, including the entire third act being redone. So I could really, and maybe it's because I knew those things and that's what I'm attributing it to, but I feel like even if I didn't know all of that, I would have walked away from the movie feeling like something's missing, or this doesn't feel like this is what they would have like set out to do when this wrote the movie. You know, like movies are written 3 times. When you write the movie,
but the thing is, Stacey, this movie is gonna make like tons of money. Like,
oh yeah,
it's gonna be huge. So maybe
this stopped in 88. But you know why this stopped in 88? You know what? I'm gonna turn off the music because we're gonna move on, because there is a big revelation at the end of the film, which by the time you go to see it over the weekend, it's gonna be a public knowledge. So I'm gonna give you guys a spoiler warning. We're gonna get to that in a minute. So if you guys don't want it spoiled for you, because this is a moment from the credits of the movie, just beware. It's not anything that affects the movie itself, but it does affect how you're going to think about this film. So, but that being said, I did want to address something we mentioned, I think, on yesterday's show before I get to that, like, little, sort of spoilery thing that I was going to get to. LaToya Jackson, one of the Jackson sisters, she was on the red carpet for this movie, and Mark Malkin of Variety asked her the question, like, hey, in the movie, there is no Janet Jackson. We only get to see one sister alongside, the mother as they're, watching their brothers and sons perform with the Jackson 5 and whatnot. And that's because when asked, they were just told kindly by Janet that, she did not want to be portrayed in the movie, and she kindly declined, according to LaToya Jackson. And while LaToya Jackson did say, "I wish everybody was in the movie," they respect her wishes, which is completely fine. And this is from last week's Hollywood premiere of the film. And that being said, we do get to see, of course, LaToya being portrayed by Jessica Sula in the movie, and of course, Nia Long, playing the mother, Katherine Jackson, and Coleman Domingo playing Joe Jackson. So, yeah, I mean, I will say, though, Coleman Domingo cut a very imposing figure in this movie, especially when you put him up against, the scrawny-looking Michael especially of the early years, and you could really tell, like, there was a good amount of tension there, and they really did make the most of, again, what they were given to do, what they were allowed to do, and the version of the story they were trying to tell. But yeah, I mean, Janet Jackson definitely not in the movie, and it's because she just didn't want to be portrayed in the movie. So there we go. But as far as the Jackson family, which are very involved with this film, Toto Jackson's son took to social media this week to kind of call out the media about all the talk around this movie and the narrative around Michael Jackson. So he posted on his social media, Taj Jackson, this is again Michael Jackson's one of his other nephews, Toto's son. He said on X the other day, sorry media, you don't get to control the narrative anymore of who Michael Jackson truly was. The public gets to watch this movie, they will decide for themselves, and he can't handle that. Can't wait till some critics have to eat crow, and yes, I will be that petty. I'll just say this. I mean, yes, this is looking to open to the, biggest box office opening for any musical biopic ever. More than Bohemian Rhapsody, more than, certainly Straight Outta Compton and stuff. But is it a better movie than those two? I don't think it is, honestly. And maybe one of the reasons why I'll get into in a little bit. And certainly, if you look at the reviews, I don't think it's a social media narrative issue. I mean, look, to each their own, and Todd Jackson can think what he does. But this movie definitely leaves the door open to, people saying this is a very sanitized, retelling of the story of the events of Michael Jackson's life. It's definitely, part of how this movie plays. In fact, this is a good thing I want to point out in this article. In the Hollywood Reporter's review from David Rooney, he mentioned that this movie was surprisingly affecting, but David Rooney also noted, and I agree with what he said, that the film does leave itself open to accusations of making Michael a saint, which will not sit well with the cancel crowd. I don't like the idea of cancel culture in general, because I feel like cancel culture started off with the right intentions, then ultimately turned into a monster of its own.
Yeah, same thing happened with like the whole Me Too thing, where it started off like, okay, terrible people were held liable, but then it became a witch hunt. That's essentially what it was.
Exactly. But at the same time, I will say this movie, it's very true that this movie does, open itself up to allegations that they're making Michael look like a saint, right? But also at the same time, the movie, it ends like we were talking about in the chat earlier. The events of the movie kind of wrap up pretty much around 1988. Like you don't really get to the latter half of Michael Jackson's career, and there's a reason for that. So here we go. This is now, again, I'm going to give you guys a bit of a spoiler warning, but right as the screen goes dark at the end of the movie, and you get to see Michael Jackson's kind of literally winking at the camera in a fourth wall break before it goes to the credits. Before the credits actually roll, we get a little bit of a MCU move, and the screen goes dark, and 3 words slowly fade on one by one. His story continues.
I did hear about that. Yeah.
And then the credits roll. And so you could very much tell that indeed, I mean, this is wrong. It doesn't say his story will continue. It says his story continues, but that's semantics, whatever. And that pretty much means, yes, indeed, they are looking to do a sequel, John. So that's...
And how much you want to bet? How much you want to bet, since
Yeah.
it's going to be like a duology? It's obviously not going to be like a trilogy. It's going to be the rest of his career until his death. How much do you want to fucking bet it's going to be called Michael, This Is It? How much? I would bet, okay. I'm not going to actually bet money in case I'm wrong, but like I'm very confident that it would be called that. Michael, this
Why
is
not
it.
call it that? It would make all the
Yeah,
sense
what
in
else
the
would
world.
they call it? Michael Jackson bad? Like, oh, hey, look, haha, it's like the movie itself. It's bad. No, it's just what would have been really funny? Like when you said MCU, the first thing I thought of,
Michael Jackson will return.
no. The first thing I thought of, it like cuts, and then like it's a mid-credit scene. Michael Jackson's like sitting in, I don't know, like office, mansion, whatever, and it's dark. It's nighttime. He hears a knock on the door, and he's like, "Come in." And then he walks in, and you just hear a very familiar voice, like, "Michael, you're part of a bigger universe, and you just don't know it yet." And then Michael slowly turns, and we see the figure come out of the shadows, and he's like, "Have you ever heard of Polka?" And then it's Weird Al, and then it cuts to black.
Yeah, all of
that
these
would have been a
biopics
better
exist in the
ending.
same universe. Yeah. Hey, Pacerland, how are you doing today? Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, they don't touch on any of that stuff in the movie, and none of the accusation stuff is in the movie. Yeah, no, you know what? You're right, Monique. That's the thing. The second movie, if it is going to cover, the latter half of his career and until, he passes away.
I mean, that's
it's
where
harder,
all of the visceral stuff. So,
yeah.
Okay, maybe the movie's not good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the movie's bad. To be fair, you're biased. I'm biased. We're both biased. A lot of Michael Jackson fans are biased.
Right.
Fine. I'm going to try not to be. I'm going to try and be as critical as I can. I mean, I'm a huge Queen fan, and I was very critical of Bohemian Rhapsody. So there is that as well. Even Rocket Man, I love Elton John. I was still, even though I think that's a great movie, it's still a flawed movie. So, I try my best to be as critical as I can despite being a fan of things. So maybe kind of like my thoughts on Dune, like clearly I'm watching half a story and it doesn't feel right.
Yes.
And it feels weird and awkward. Sorry if my camera looks a bit weird. Apologies. So maybe it's just like, okay, which kind of sucks because movies, even if it's a two-parter, it should feel like a complete movie. But that's like beside the point. Let's just say for hypotheticals, just in this situation, maybe it's like, okay, this is half a movie. We're going to have the rise of Michael Jackson. He is like this saint-like figure. He's the celebrity, this huge behemoth of a man. And then when the accusations start, the controversy start, which was mainly in the second half of his life after 1988, we'll see the fall and we'll see the darker aspects of Michael Jackson. Now, I don't personally believe in the accusations of sexual assault, but that's just me. But maybe they will show them in sort of an unbiased look. It's like presenting the information and then the audience is smart enough to figure out what they believe is correct.
Right.
So maybe it's like this gasses up Michael, this hypes up Michael, even though it is kind of sanitized. It's not visceral, like you said. It doesn't showcase. But the thing is, there's not a lot of visceral nature in the first half of his life outside of the relationship with his father, who was very controlling, which maybe, I have heard that Coleman Domingo and Jafar Jackson are the best parts of the movie outside of your review.
No, absolutely. Like I said, those are some of the most tense moments. Coleman Domingo is, like I said, he cuts a very imposing figure in this movie. Like, I felt the tension of, like, if he was my father, I would definitely be like having a hard time going against like what he would be trying to get me to do.
Maybe like we're gonna get the good, and then for lack of a better word, with the second movie, if it does happen, we're gonna get the bad. So he's bad. So but I think that would be a very interesting way of telling Michael's story, kind of like how literally the first half of Dune, that entire first movie, is literally set up for the huge bombastic second half of that story, which in my opinion was better. So it makes the whole of the story look a lot better. So maybe with this, but it also could be like the Wicked, story where it's like the first half was beloved, second half was not, and the second half taints the first half. And maybe the second half, if we do get that movie, it's going to taint the first half even more. It's going to make it look even worse. My hope is that if, when Michael Jackson 2 Electric Boogaloo, if that gets greenlit, once this makes bajillions of dollars, and once, it gets greenlit, it's happening, it's definitely going to happen, then they're going to show those darker moments, I would hope. And the reason that he was pumped up and gassed up so much in this movie, the, passion of St. Michael, like that Rolling Stone article we were talking about yesterday, was saying, then we're going to see like the fall of an angel kind of thing. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, and then MTG as well as John was making a point yesterday that pretty much all of these
there is that as well. There is that.
They always get the sign off from the family or the artist themselves, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to access the catalog of music that makes these movies like commercially viable. Like, honestly, whether you believe the allegations against Michael Jackson or not, or any, insert artist name here, you go to see the movie for the recreation of those moments that
I mean, like the fucking Live Aid performance in Bohemian Rhapsody, or
that was the entire third act of the movie. That whole performance was like 40 minutes of the film, and you send the crowd home happy, right? But like, I think like they did a better job of building up to that in Bohemian Rhapsody than they do here. I will say one of my work friend, my other work friends, not you, John. You are a work friend too, but like one of my other work friends sent me.
No, I understand.
They sent me the link to this article, which was in Deadline earlier today, and Coleman Domingo was in the Today Show with Nia Long talking about the movie. Of course, they play the parents of Michael Jackson in the movie, and they were asked, like, why does this movie not include the child abuse allegations? And basically Coleman Domingo said there could be a sequel, but I'll kind of read off a little more than more of what he said, because when he was on the show, he talked about how the film does take place from the 60s to 1998. So again, it does cover like 3 decades, but again, it's Michael Jackson lived a lot more of several decades more, 2-3 decades more past 1988. So like I said, the latter half of his career is not featured in the film. Coleman Domingo went on to say, so basically we centered the movie on the makings of Michael. So it's an intimate portrait of who Michael is through his eyes. So that's what it is. That's what this film is. I will say there's a couple of funny moments in this movie. At one point, like, there's a dialogue quip, and I won't tell you the context, where Michael Jackson sort of quips at, like, if I don't get it, then Prince will, like, it's kind of like that whole rivalry and stuff. And then there's a running gag of like how there's a giraffe walking around the family house, and he's got a llama that he's walking around when he's thinking, and he just goes for a walk with a llama, and then he's got like the chimp. So it's him having and there's a snake at one point in the movie. That was the part where I'm like, oh, I had to kind of that I don't do snakes, so. And I know some people who also
I hate snakes. Why'd it have to be snakes?
There's a scene in the movie where there is a snake, so just saying, just beware. It happens early in the film, and it's nothing like it's just a dialogue scene, but Michael Jackson had exotic pets. So there you go. Now, Coleman Domingo also went on to say about the movie, there's a possibility of there being a part 2 that may deal with some other things that happened afterwards. So, the post 1988. And then Coleman Domingo said this is about the making of Michael, how he was raised, and then how he was trying to find his voice as an artist and be a solo artist. That's what I have to say about that. Of course, again, Coleman Domingo's promoting the movie, so he's gotta do the job. And when he was asked about potentially exploring the allegations in another biopic late about the latter years of Jackson's life, Domingo said there could be a sequel. We don't know yet. If the price is right, he quipped. And well, apparently the original version of the movie, as per this report and Deadline, was 3.5 hours long. And the first cut of the movie did end with an accuser of Michael Jackson, who of course is the person that to then take out of the movie completely because of the settlement that I mentioned earlier. That's when the two kind of overhauled the movie, and they went and did 22 days of additional shooting last May, and with a new ending. And I could tell, the movie's definitely not anywhere close to 3.5 hours. You don't have to ask me about that. You can just look up the runtime online. And there were rumors, of course, that Lionsgate was thinking about splitting it into two. I think now, having seen the movie, and then also having seen all the reporting around what it was gonna be originally, I can tell you that it's very likely they probably took a few bits that were shot for this film and they're saving them for a potential sequel.
But the thing I'm curious about,
it felt like
is with
that.
the accuser. Obviously we don't know who it is. They never said. How are they gonna portray those moments in a second movie? Are they gonna just have to use somebody else? Are they just gonna have to create?
But that's the thing. You can't, like, the settlement makes it so that you can't have that accuser be involved at all. And
I know, that's what I'm saying. How are they gonna make that work? Like, you can't just create an original character and be like, oh yeah, this is totally not based on this person, and then you're gonna get sued up the wazoo. So I mean, I'm just curious how they're gonna make that work.
That kind of answers the question in and of itself, because if you can't include it, then you can't include that part of the Michael's story, right? It's just functionally you just can't do it. And anything that's remotely resembling, like you said, you can't really fictionalize it and say, oh no, that's something completely different, but it's meant to be an allegory from, what happened to Michael Jackson. Because the literal movie is about Michael Jackson, right? So I don't think you can get around it, which if you guys are hoping to, then, and it wasn't just one accuser, so you could go in a different direction and cover another, allegation or set of allegations. But I do remember there was a big report around this time last year when all these delays were first happening. And they were mentioning in that report that, and it was from a fairly reliable source, one of the big trades I was reading into. I think we talked about it on the show as well, that the actor
so I found the person they did who was accused, and it's Jordan Chandler. I believe it's the person who accused in 1993. So I would assume that they can't touch upon those abuse allegations in the movie. They would have to just either talk about it and just not include him or his name. I don't know how they do that, or they just skip it entirely, which is
that particular one
rough.
They can't include at all, because it seems because they can't. It's part of the settlement. That's the whole reason why this movie got delayed a year, and they reshot a third act and 22 days worth of reshoots. So they would have to go in a different direction if they were to touch upon anything regarding the accusations. It would be maybe another accuser or something else to that effect. But like I said, last year when all of these changes were happening and they were figuring out that we need to reshoot a big chunk of this film, I remember reading that big report where it mentioned that the actor they had brought in to play that character, like you said, Jordan Chandler, based on, of course, the real life Jordan Chandler, that actor was going to be their breakout role. And so it was, terrible news to them, obviously, when they were like, your entire role has been cut. We shot all of this stuff and you could have been a big part of this movie. But, unfortunately, it's just not going to happen now. But it is what it is. Obviously, it was in the settlement, so you can't include it. But like Monique saying, you can portray the authorities looking into it to bypass the settlement. Yeah, there's ways around it. But again, I think people will still make the claim, oh yeah, it's sanitized, they really didn't go into it that deep, but in that instance they can't, because they tried to, you know, and not that this movie originally was going to go super deep on it anyway, but they at least had you know, they had that character in the movie, and it would have led to, you know, that point in his life where the accusations would come out, and that's where the movie would have ended, and that had to be taken out. So I don't think we should keep our hopes up that they're going to go super deep into all that stuff in the second movie anyway. So if you're, you know, have an expectation that that's the direction this was going to go in a sequel, which by the way, it does look like that will happen, because remember, like I said, at the end of this movie, before the credits roll, the screen goes black, and it says his story continues. So it seems like Lionsgate, you know, in for an inch, in for a mile, or in for a penny, in for a dollar. They're definitely going to try to extend the story, and I'm sure the Jackson State is gonna want a part of that, because yeah, I mean, you know, they're going to be making a lot of money off this movie. Speaking of which, I just want to mention the latest updated predictions and projections for the opening weekend from Michael are looking at around 70 million plus. Yesterday we were talking about 65 to 70 million. Now they're looking at 70 million and over at the domestic box office, which would be a record start to a musical biopic. It would be more than what Bohemian Rhapsody made in 2018. It made 51 million. Straight Outta Compton in 2015 made 60 million, so this would beat it by at least 10 million or more. And yeah, I mean, 65 to 70 million, potentially over 70 million. Some exhibitors, some theaters are thinking it might be closer to 80 million, with the advanced ticket sales being so good, and of course with IMAX and other premium formats. So on the lower end, it would still be the record holder. On the higher end, it would blow the record out of the water. And we talked about yesterday, they're expecting to almost double that number internationally. So worldwide, Michael Jackson, you know, the movie Michael will potentially open to 150 million on the low end, and could be as high as 160 or more. So it's gonna make money. It's gonna make lots of money, and yeah. Uh, I mean, I don't think it's a matter of like critics trying to smear the movie Pacerland. I think it's more like two things can be true at the same time, right? Like that's what I was trying to get at. Like I enjoy the movie. I understand. I totally get the critiques of it feels hollow, it feels superficial, it feels surface level, but it does celebrate Michael, and I think both things are true. It's just I am a fan of Michael Jackson, and that's why I wanted to see this movie. So you know, that's why I enjoyed it more. So if I was maybe somebody who wasn't that attached to the musical catalog of Michael Jackson, or his abilities as a on-stage performer, then I would have probably given it a lower rating. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. If I wasn't a Michael Jackson fan, I bet you I probably would have given it like a 6 out of 10. So I think that's the spectrum that you're seeing in a lot of reviews. Even, you know, the Hollywood Reporter's David Rooney, who gave it a positive review, did say it does open itself up to criticism from you know, other people who will look at it and say this is very superficial, very sanitized. So yeah, but look, ultimately it's the money that makes the difference, and people vote with their wallets. So if it's going to make over 150 million opening weekend, and if it goes on to make anywhere close to, if not over 500 million dollars at the box office, then I think they have every intention to do a sequel. They tease it at the end of this movie when it says his story continues. So that would be one hell of a cliffhanger to end things on if we never got a sequel, you know? And I feel like Jafar Jackson is the right age to do a sequel. So if you're going to do a sequel, then, you know, get on with it. So Pacerland seeing it 3 times this weekend, by the way. Wow. Well, I mean, is it going to make $1 billion? That was a question we talked about a lot, or I think a lot of us thought it was going to make $1 billion. Having seen it now, and seeing the movies on the calendar that are coming up in the next few weeks, John, like The Devil Wears Prada 2, and then we get into the summer months really quickly with the animated movies, Supergirl. May will be here in no time, and May is a packed month. You got Disclosure Day coming out, The Odyssey coming out not too long after that. Having seen Michael, I don't think it's a guaranteed $1 billion movie. And yes, I mean, Monique, yes, he was publicly acquitted in the trial. So Michael Jackson did not get, you know, convicted of what he was accused of. Just, you know, again, from a legal standpoint, to set that straight. But it's like just the whole, you know, court of public opinion that I think a lot of people live in, as with anything. So But yeah, I mean, John, do you think this movie? Are you feeling like this is still $1 billion movie? Because I'm not so sure anymore. Having
Yeah,
seen the
I mean, we
film.
said that the other
Yeah.
day how it'll maybe make like 800 to 900 million around there. I don't
Yeah.
think it'll make as much as Bohemian Rhapsody, but I think it'll make a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 500 or more, 500 million or more is a pretty good marker. And I just think, like, Bohemian Rhapsody, if it ends up, still with a higher tally at the end of the day, it's deserving because I think Bohemian Rhapsody and Straight Outta Compton are better movies, period. But I love Michael. I love Michael Jackson's music, and I really did enjoy the movie for those moments. Outside of that, it just, like, as somebody who's a fan of, good storytelling, it didn't really quite scratch that itch for me. So that's where it kind of falls short of it. But let us know what you guys think about it. Of course, if you go to see it this weekend, we'd love to hear from you. Get in the comments and let us know what you thought about the film. We'll bring those comments and questions in. John will see it over the weekend. John, so right, we'll talk about it, I'm sure, on Monday, get your thoughts on the film. But until then, let's move on to some MCU Weekly, shall we, John? Because that's where we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. So I'm going to switch things over and let's get into some MCU talk because, well, there's a lot of spoilery rumors and reports and just straight up spoilers coming out now. And we'll get into all the upcoming Marvel movies because they're all getting spoiled seemingly. The very first one, John, we got to talk about Avengers Doomsday. The composer of the movie, of course, Alan Silvestri, is back to compose for I think he's done 3 out of the 4 Avengers movies up to this point. So this would end up being his 4th time doing it. I think Michael Giacchino did Age of Ultron, and then they brought back Alan Silvestri for Infinity War and Endgame. And well, he's back for Doomsday as well. And apparently, he posted, not apparently, he did post on Instagram about, I guess, one of his work days, one of his, days working on the soundtrack for Avengers Doomsday. And he was like, yeah, you call this a day at the office? Like, he's pretty lucky, he feels pretty lucky to be doing what he does for a living, and they call this work because he gets to work with, well, I think that on the right, is that Brad Winderbaum? Am I, those two, I mean, they're 2 Marvel folks there, and of course, Alan Silvestri having the time of his life, but
I think that's
John,
Michael
looks
Giacchino
like,
at the end.
is that Michael Giacchino? That's Michael Giacchino. Okay, so that's him on the right. I can't tell who's on the left.
I mean, it was liked by him, so I assume it was him.
That is actually Michael Giacchino. You're right. That is Michael Giacchino. But and somebody will in the chat will tell us who the other person is. But the thing that we actually care about is not the people in the photo. It's what's in the background. Because obviously they're working on scoring the film now. And what you see in the background, so what happens when you score the movies, you'll sometimes get the whole movie, and sometimes you'll just get sequences or scenes from the film. And they'll, do these black slates with, essentially the slug line from the script for that scene. And here in the background, you very much see here in the photo, and you see it zoomed in, interior armor room, Doomstot. So it looks like we will get to see Doomstot, part of the Castle Doom in the film. Now, John, is this entirely surprising to you that this is going to be in the movie? Or was this something you were like, holy shit?
Well, the thing is, I didn't. Well,
this?
Here's the thing: I didn't know. I didn't know because the thing is, I was looking at this. I'm like, armor. It looked like Doomsday to me, like Armor Room Doomsday, like Doomsday is an actual place. And then it was like Doomstot. I'm like, cool. I have no fucking clue what that is. And then I looked it up, and Doomstot is the capital of Latveria. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So cool, nice.
In fact, this lines up with another set of rumors that came out not too long ago. I don't know if you talked about them on the show, but it was only a few days ago that, the comicbookmovie.com released this list of rumors that included this particular tweet, and I'm going to load it up here, which pretty much confirmed that one of the locations where they shot for Doomsday, and, they're doing potentially more reshoots, is Alton Towers, which are meant to be serving as the stand-in for Castle Doom in the movie. So it looks like that that's going to be part of the backdrop, and that's on IMDb, and it's in Staffordshire, England, and it's going to be in the movie. So you add that Castle Doom report to the Michael Giacchino Doomstot, it very much looks like we're gonna get to see Latveria in the movie, which is, I think, for a lot of fans, maybe not entirely surprising considering we're getting Doctor Doom at the center focus of this film, but nonetheless, it's one thing that you probably didn't know before that you know about the movie now. So boom, there you go. But we keep on going, and going past the Avengers Doomsday spoilers and leaks, which let me know what you thought about that. I mean, how much of a factor do you think that will be in the movie in and of itself? Are we going to get to see Castle Doom quite a bit? Is it going to play a role once we get to Avengers Secret Wars? I would love to hear from you guys. Doomstot. How much of Doomstot do we actually get to see in the movie? We'll be getting to see the armor room. We know that for sure. So, what else are we going to get to see? Let me know in the comments. But in the meantime, I want to keep the ball rolling because going beyond Avengers Doomsday, there is a rumor going around that Avengers Secret Wars is not just going to feature the X-Men that you and I have already seen in that teaser that we got late last year, but it does look like we're going to get to see some other iterations of X-Men also return for Avengers Secret Wars, because of course Secret Wars is like the biggest crossover that Marvel in the comics has done or can do, and so trying to replicate that to the big screen, they're going to go after and try to bring in as many possible characters. And certainly when you try to do that, like, you got to go look for like more X-Men, because Fox had multiple generations of X-Men. So according to My Time to Shine, hello, they were talking about the other day on social media that not only are we going to get to see the OG X-Men from the Fox era return, which we already are seeing in Avengers Doomsday, in Secret Wars, we are also going to get to see the X-Men First Class iteration of the characters. So maybe Michael Fassbender will come back as Magneto. You're gonna get Professor X. You're gonna get maybe that version of Mystique with Jennifer Lawrence. You're going to get maybe Nicholas Hoult coming back as his version of Beast. Like that will be interesting to see. And any of those other characters, maybe Zoe Kravitz goes back over to the Marvel world. Could she come back? Maybe they'll have goddamn Mr. Terrific pop in for another cameo as his X-Men character. That will be very interesting. But I mean, this is an interesting rumor. You guys let me know what you think about this. I'm not entirely surprised that they're pulling all the stops out to bring in as many of those characters they can get a hold of. And it's always better to go grab a set of characters that people already have seen before. They can relate to it as member berries. It sells better than trying to just invent new versions, unless it's like one of those popular fan castings like John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic, which I wouldn't be surprised to see him come back for a little cameo either. But yeah, it looks like if you go off the rumor from My Time to Shine, we might be getting not just the OG Fox X-Men, but also the first class version of X-Men as well. So that is very interesting. Again, a little spoilery, but at the same time, are you really surprised? Because I'm not. But you know what I was surprised to see today, and this now is potentially the most spoilery thing that we're going to talk about in today's show. So I'm going to put up a little bit of a spoiler warning banner, so the ticker down below just changed, and then I'm going to put up, in case that doesn't catch your attention, a little spoiler alert warning on the top left of the screen. So yeah, so there you go. And yeah, let's talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day. We have all been talking about how there's probably 4, 5, maybe even 6 different characters that Sadie Sink could be playing in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Is she a mutant? Is she one of the Spider characters? Well, it turns out there was a leaked photo that made the rounds today, and this photo is apparently real, kind of like when Andrew Garfield, his version of Spider-Man, those photos from the set of Spider-Man No Way Home got leaked and people were like, that's AI, and then it was like, oh, it's real, and then he's in the movie and you're like, oh great, Sony did all that work to hide that, and then ultimately a set of photos leak like a few weeks before the movie comes out. Well, we're weeks away now, like a couple of months, but still you could count them in weeks away from Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out. And there was a photo making the rounds online with, and again, spoiler warning, of course, you got Frank Castle there, and with Punisher standing right next to clearly Sadie Sink and her character, which the look of her character obviously is in line with the set photos we have seen of her before, but now you get to see the rest of the costume. It is a little blurry. You do see a lot of artifacting, and this tweet here is referring to the fact, which by the way is from Alex P, who's the guy who runs the Cosmic Circus. But this photo was enhanced through Google's Gemini AI, so it does have some artifacting and stuff. But you could still kind of tell that clearly Sadie Sink is wearing the Jean Grey colors from the comics, the green or like the teal green, as well as like obviously yellow hoodie there, and she's got the red hair. So I mean, this definitely looks like Jean Grey. I could kind of see how somebody would have looked at this and thought Typhoid Mary, but also at the same time, I mean, that looks like Jean Grey from the comics. It's on the thumbnail. You guys have seen this. This looks like Jean Grey. Hi Sunju, saying Jean Grey and Typhoid Mary both have mind-controlling powers, red hair, and they are both mutants. I have no idea who Sadie is playing. It doesn't look like Jean Grey's hair. I am confused. John, while Sunju is making a good point, I personally think this is Jean Grey. It's
Here's the thing. I think it's Jean Grey because I think Kevin Feige and Marvel are probably stupid enough to include that decision. They're like, oh, you're making an actually good Spider-Man movie? Let's ruin it by putting fucking Jean Grey in there for literally no fucking reason. Booyah! We're ruining Spider-Man fans' day yet again after our garbage-ass trilogy. Go fuck yourself. Go to Nick Cage if you want to see good shit. We are Marvel. We don't produce good shit anymore. So, would I not want to believe this is Jean Grey? Absolutely. Do I think it's Jean Grey? Yes, because Kevin Feige fucking hates us, and we will never get good Spider-Man media in the MCU unless it's animated or has Nick Cage in it. So, am I still going to see it? Probably, because I am a masochist. So, here we are. We were this close to greatness. We were this fucking close, and you couldn't even fucking do. You had practical web slinging. You had the best spider suit. You had Punisher. You even gave us Savage Hulk. No, can't have that. We have to include X-Men teases because apparently they took a note out of Zack Snyder's book and just grind the movie to a halt and have fucking Justice League cameos in our movie because we have to set up a fucking universe and all that shit. And it's like, no, we can't have good shit. We have to include useless cameos all over the place. Good writing? Nah, we got cameos because we don't hire good writers anymore. Like, what do you think this fucking is? Martin Scorsese? If you want good shit, go see Disclosure Day. We don't fucking do that here in the MCU. Come on now. Come on. So, here we are. We have to get pre-X-Men in our Spider-Man movie because Kevin Feige is a little fucking word I can't say on stream because I'll get canceled. So here we are. Almost got a movie. I was so fucking close. But looks like I'm just gonna go back to Toby and Andrew and whatever the fuck Lord and Miller are doing. Because God knows the MCU can't give me my good fucking Spider-Man movie. Why is it so fucking difficult for you to fucking do that? Why is it so fucking difficult? Why isn't it, you stupid bastard? Why is it so fucking hard for you to give me a fucking good Spider-Man movie? Why is it so fucking hard? Why? Why do you make things so fucking difficult? You can't fucking figure out Blade of all things! Guy who kills vampires. You can't even do that right. And for some reason, I expected that we were going to get a good Spider-Man movie. No! We have to include a useless Jean Grey villain role because God hates us. Alright. Pour on the nukes. I'm ready to go. I'm done with this life. Let's hope the next one's good, because I'm out. I'm done. Here we go. I'm ready for the nukes. I'm ready to be imploded. Here we go. We're done. We out. Marvel can't do fucking shit anymore unless it's outside of the Disney bullshit. I'm just saying. Thank fucking Christ for Nick Cage for being a little weirdo, because that's what's hanging on. my Spider-Man brain, the thing that's hanging on a thread or on a web thread, because that's all I have right now. Because your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, it went a little bit down when they were revealing Venom, so I'm like, I'm still holding out hope for that one. Stupid me, but you know, here we are. I'm an idiot because I fucking trusted Marvel. So, thank God for Nick Cage. Thank God for Nick Cage, because he knows what's up. Thank God for Lord and Miller for next year, too. So, yeah. This is why we can't have nice things. And this is why... Where's my machete? I need to pay Kevin Feige a visit. I think it's under my bed. Yeah,
You're
hang on.
threatening
Let me
Kevin
just
Feige live
grab
on the internet.
that
Okay.
real quick. No reason. I'm not saying I'm doing anything. I'm just, you know, I think it's under here somewhere. No, I might have put it in my closet. I'll go grab that later. So, yeah, here we are. Got this fucking abomination in front of me. Not the Hulk villain, but, you know, different kind of abomination. So,
well,
yeah.
Well, of course, there's been like leaks of scenes that were being shot of the movie. Like she gets arrested at one point. There's video and there's images of her on set. You could see the colors look kind of similar. Also, sometimes the colors, the way they look in these, you know, set photos being taken from hundreds of feet away versus how it looks on camera, they will look different. And altogether, I mean, yeah, while like I said, this picture was enhanced by AI, it does look like there were a couple of corroborating sources that said this is actually from the movie. So, but I mean, Senji was making a good point. I guess there's
to every higher power. I will pray to every god. I will literally start going back to church every fucking day of my life if this turns out to be Typhoid Mary, because that's going to be a miracle at this point, so that we don't have to deal with pre-X-Men dog shit that Kevin Feige's fucking inserting into this shit. So, you know, that's... I will become a born-again Christian if this turns out to be not Jean Grey. Okay? So... But I don't trust Marvel enough. I don't trust Kevin enough. You are a disgrace to bald men everywhere. Actually, he's not even bald. The fucker's thinning. Just shave it, Kevin. Like, what are you doing? You gotta put your fucking Marvel Studios cap on. Just shave it. Stop being a fucking pussy. Goddamn. Just shave your fucking head. Get out of here. Yeah. You and your fucking, stupid eyes and your chode lips. Okay, fucking loser.
To answer your question, Sanju, I think Captain America Civil War was always kind of predicated on being a big crossover semi-Avengers movie. I think this movie, they've been really playing up the idea that we're going back to a street level Spider-Man movie. We're stripping away all the Tony Stark influence from Peter Parker, and we're trying to give you more of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which in a lot of ways they are. But again, this movie just feels like now at this point, we know, for example, the toys are out. We know we're going to get the Savage Hulk back in this movie. So you already got an Avenger, one of the OG Avengers. Then you already have Frank Castle's Punisher in there. So you got that going. Then we know we've got like multiple little villains in this movie. We probably haven't even seen the main villain. Not to mention, it's kind of obvious, the shots in the trailer where you could see that, he's fighting the Hand, but there's clearly more than just Spider-Man fighting the Hand. And so you might even be getting Daredevil. Those rumors are running rampant. And then you add on top of that, of course, I feel like Sadie Sink's character is going to feel more involved and more interweaved into the movie than some of those other superheroes. But at the same time, if this is an introduction to Jean Grey, I mean, it makes business sense that you're introducing one of those characters that, obviously Marvel's most popular characters, biggest movie.
I don't give a fuck if it's a smart business move. Okay?
Hi, Travis.
This is entertainment, all right? Fucking treat it as entertainment. You don't gotta fucking make it a business decision every fucking time. It's Spider-Man. It's literally the most popular fucking superhero in the entire world. You don't have to fucking put X-Men in a fucking Spider-Man movie to make it $1 billion fucking dollars. They already did it.
Yes.
Like, without that, with Far From Home, that didn't have Toby or Andrew, and that made $1 billion. It sucked, but hey, it's Spider-Man, so it makes a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
Why the fuck do you need to put X-Men in this shit? I don't give a fuck. I don't want to see X-Men in a fucking Spider-Man movie. I want to see Spider-Man. It's not like X-Men Returns. Also, by the way, Spider-Man is in this. Fuck that. If I want to see an X-Men movie, I'll go see a fucking X-Men movie. If I want to see a Spider-Man movie, I expect to see a Spider-Man movie. Not have fucking Jean Grey. Now, is Sadie Sink a good Jean Grey? Absolutely. Will she fucking, if it is Jean Grey, fine, whatever. I just don't want to fucking see her in my Spider-Man. It's not like a Reese's Cup situation. Ooh, the chocolate in my peanut butter. You got peanut butter in my chocolate. Oh, and it turns out to be a homogenous matrimony of flavor. No, this is like putting fucking dead roadkill and dog shit in like one thing. All right? So, like...
Yeah. I mean, look,
come on, man.
I hear you. But what I was just trying to get at was earlier, like, the but that I was trying to get to... I don't think this is a matter of you need Jean Grey for Spider-Man to make $1 billion. I do think, we kind of miss having those Spider-Man movies where really it was mostly focused on Spider-Man being, like, if not the only...
Cinematic universe has ruined cinema. There, like, I said it.
I miss the days when Spider-Man was really the only hero saving the day in New York City, right? So it feels a little crowded. And it doesn't help when you already have, like, at least two, if not more, other, MCU heroes in the film. That on top of that, you're adding in potentially a Jean Grey level character, which, yeah, I do miss that a little bit. But again, I think, like, their thinking most likely is you introduce her here, it gives, the rub to X-Men because Spider-Man is the more popular, bigger property and character.
But again, it's
so...
X-Men. Like, so many people love X-Men. Like, X-Men is literally the two most popular things from Marvel are X-Men and Spider-Man. You don't need to build up fucking X-Men in a Spider-Man. Now, if you need to build up fucking Shang-Chi in a Spider-Man movie, all right, that's understandable. Who fucking knows Shang-Chi? Boom. So that I understand, but it's like, it's Jean Grey, very recognizable. You had a whole nother franchise by Fox. It just doesn't make sense to me that it's like, you're prepping the most popular team that Marvel has with the most popular superhero Marvel has. It just makes no... Like, oh, you could talk about business shit all you want. It just... Like, even someone who understands the business side of, like, oh, they gotta make money. You don't need to do all this. The people will come. If you build it, they will come. And not part of the building is throwing Jean Grey and possibly Cyclops in there. Because that was the other rumor, that Cyclops is going to show up in this. So...
Well, I mean, I think we also are a little apprehensive that while we would love to see Savage Hulk back because we have missed him, that's another Avenger that they've included in this movie. So, again, Peter Parker just can't seem to get away from the Avengers, even when the world forgot, that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. So I don't think it's like we're universally loving the idea that the Hulk is in the movie, but I think we're more excited because we have missed that version of Hulk.
And plus, it's a little bit more... forgivable because Punisher and Spider-Man have interacted a bunch. Hulk and Spider-Man have interacted a bunch. They're both like science geniuses, so that makes sense. Not saying X-Men and Spider-Man haven't been a thing. I know people are gonna say, oh, they fucking Peter and Kitty Pryde were an item in the comics. Like, okay, I get that, but like even then, just because they were fucking for like 2 issues in the comics doesn't mean that, oh yeah, we gotta put X-Men in a Spider-Man movie.
Well, okay, but like talking about Jean Grey though, one thing that Travis brought up, which I don't think we have talked about on the show, is in the trailer. This is from the trailer, so this is not a spoiler part. We do see that Jean Grey is being kept in this like fake bedroom of sorts. And
I think
it
that's
does look
DODC.
DODC, right? Department of Damage Control. But it does look like it's a little like out of time in terms of like a different time, like the 90s or something to that effect. And so, I mean, it's a good point that Travis is making. Does that imply that maybe she's from a different time period, a different...
I mean, I will say that is hopeful because I do hope that the X-Men movie, like, I hope it's like, I think it would be really interesting to have 2 points of time. Like you have like I know they're not going to do this because again, Kevin Feige hates money, but I think it would be really cool to have like incorporated history and really build it, kind of like what they tried to do with Captain Marvel, but it like kind of didn't work, and then it caused more plot holes than not. But hey, now they're starting fresh, and I hope the rumor of, oh, they're not going to do anything, it's just Fantastic Four and X-Men are going to be here now, I hope that's not the case. But I hope it's like you have the X-Men and Fantastic Four are the only ones operating in the 60s, and then obviously you have like Shield and shit that are, you know, operating as well.
Well, but this Fantastic Four will probably just get transported to the present day MCU.
No, I know. Well,
Wars,
considering
right?
the rumor, there was an earlier rumor that it was going to get soft rebooted, and I hope in this universe that it's not just Fantastic Four and X-Men. Oh, they're here now. It's gonna hopefully be, my hope is like, oh, you're gonna get kind of back and forth stuff where it's like, okay, you're gonna get all the present day shit, and then but then for X-Men movies you're gonna go back to the 60s and 70s, and then for Fantastic Four you're gonna go back to the 50s and 60s. That I think would be really cool to like really build out the lore and universe, and I don't know, just make things unique. One of the things that everybody loved about about Fantastic Four First Steps was the retrofuturism 60s vibe, and I really liked that. So I do hope that is something that they can reincorporate into the MCU, like the main line 199999 universe. I refuse to call it 616 because it's not 616, but I just hope that is the case, because I don't know, it's just like unique. Try to make, like, again, we're getting a fucking like Batman villain horror movie. Like, come on, like DC's trying to make moves. That's something, right? So,
well, Marvel's always played it a little more safe, right? This is why they didn't do rated R things until Deadpool and Wolverine happened, and they were like, oh, now we're open to all this, or like now Daredevil Born Again is doing it. Yeah, Travis, we might be waiting a while for that, but yeah, there is a rumor that RDJ is going to end up playing Tony Stark and Doctor Doom at some point in Secret Wars, which does sound like a bad idea, but like we'll have to see how it plays out. Obviously, the story might, you know, just lean itself into that direction. But anyway, talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day, Mark Ruffalo was recently at an event talking about the movie, and he was being asked about Spider-Man Brand New Day, and I'll just kind of tee this up here. He was at Cinema Adriano in Rome, Italy, and it looks like he might have dropped in a bit of a spoiler, because at some point he must have been asked about, like, well, will Spider-Man actually get to fight aliens again, or maybe the Venom? And Mark Ruffalo was heard saying, I promise you 1000% that he will be fighting an alien in the future. Now, Mark Ruffalo could be talking about, you know, distant future. Technically, there will probably be a lot of aliens in Secret Wars. We most likely don't see him in Doomsday unless things change this summer with the reshoots. But do you take what Mark Ruffalo has said at this event as to mean that a Spider-Man Brand New Day might include an alien that Spider-Man fights, or is Mark Ruffalo talking about a future appearance? And I don't know, does that mean Venom is going to be here sooner than later?
It's entirely possible, because I mean, apparently the only fucking villain that Spider-Man has nowadays is Venom. There's no other villains, and you know, it's only Venom. It's only Venom. They can only do Venom. It had Venom, because apparently the fucking stink of Avi Arad's obsession with Venom has permeated every aspect of Spider-Man media within the past 20 fucking years. Well, I will say the only thing, especially in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, since it's animated, I will forgive the use of Venom if he is wearing the black suit Spider-Man and he's chasing after Shocker and he starts screaming like he did in the animated series, I will follow you to the ends of the earth. I will forgive everything if they do that. So that's the only thing.
Yeah. Hey, Johnny Rico. Yeah, I mean, these Spider-Man movies do a crossover like every movie, to the point where it's just doesn't feel like they're Spider-Man movies sometimes.
The only one that wasn't a crossover was Far From Home, and that's arguably the worst one. So I guess, you know, it still works.
And even then they had Nick Fury in it. But anyway, which is like, not really an Avenger, but still, you know, the Avengers.
And he was technically not Nick Fury either. So,
well, which, you know, is recontextualized after the fact, but like it's also like touche. I will say though, John, remember Tom Holland once upon a time did film a cameo for Venom Let There Be Carnage, which was kind of like, that was the exchange for having Eddie Brock appear in Far From home. And Tom Holland's cameo though was completely cut from Venom: Let There Be Carnage, and so he was like, I don't know what happened with that. It was great shooting, that little bit, and he was really excited about it, but I guess things didn't work out. So I'm sure even if he did know what happened, Tom Holland's probably not allowed to talk about it. So it wouldn't be the first time that Tom Holland's Spider-Man has done anything connected to the symbiotes, but it doesn't. It looks like, as per Bruce Banner himself, Mark Ruffalo, Spider-Man 1000% will fight an alien in the future. It's just a matter of what he's referring to when he says future. So yeah. Yeah, you know what, Travis, that would be great, but they're keeping the Spider-Verse series of movies completely separate from Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I don't think Kevin Feige wants to touch that, and I don't think Sony wants to touch it either.
Yeah, he's like, we can't have good Spider-Man shit in our shitty Spider-Man shit. Come on now, we can't have like what Lord and Miller's like greatest fucking animated movie of all time permeate our crap. Come on now, we can't even close to be getting like good talented shit in our shitty shit. So
Yeah, because remember in one of the Venom movies, they did have a post-credit scene that sort of tied into the Spider-Verse movies, like meanwhile in another world or something to that effect. But anyway, let's keep going, John. I did want to talk about Spider-Noir, which at this point feels like might just be your favorite Spider-Man thing of the year. So let's get to that, shall we? Because now we have some new character posters that they put out, and they gave us the run times for all 8 episodes of the show. So I was really excited to see this. And John, I want to talk through this for a moment. Let me see where should we start. Let's start with the posters. Actually, I'll open these up. I think they released 2 sets of character posters. So we'll get back to the episode runtimes in a moment. So let me open these up real quick. I'll start with this one. This is, of course, Nicolas Cage being featured, and his version of the character that becomes Spider-Man in this show, or was Spider-Man in this show. I love these posters. This is great. This to me is epic. Like, I don't know, what did you think about these 2 posters?
all I have to say, absolute cinema.
Absolute cinema.
Absolute cinema.
Absolute Rocky.
See, Kevin Feige, fucking take notes on how to do shit. You fucking hair thinning, chode lipped loser.
And then you got this one, where of course again they're doing the authentic.
A little bit more generic, but it's kind of reminiscent of Sin City a little bit.
It is Sin City, Batman, stuff like that, and then you get the.
I gotta say, Amazon is really, really doing good shit this year. Like, they got The Boys season 5 that's wrapping up. They had fucking Project Hail Mary. They're gonna have Masters of the Universe. They have Spider-Noir. Honestly, if they might actually pull a miracle and actually make a good James Bond movie, Amazon might have a bright future ahead of them in movie making. So,
True.
And TV making.
True. Well, I mean, I think Amazon Prime Video already is one of the best streaming services out there in terms of the depth of their library and quality.
Okay.
No, I think so. I'm gonna go ahead and I enjoy it more than Disney Plus and Netflix for the most part in terms of what they have to offer for me personally.
I mean, yeah, when the bar is in hell, bro. I mean, come on now. Anything seems okay.
Fair enough. But still, I love these posters. Everything about this show so far speaks like they're trying to put their name in the Emmy consideration. But then, John, Cryptic 4K Qual, their account, of course, this leaker.
They're usually really good.
Right.
Yeah, he's more often
right. They put out the
run
times. So now we have the runtimes for all 8 episodes. So I'm going to zoom into this. Episode 1 is going to be 44 minutes. Episode 2 is 40. Then you get episode 3 with 45. Then you get 47 for episode 4 and 5. A piece, that is, 47 minutes a piece. Then you get the, episode 6 and 7, which are 40 minutes a piece. And then episode 8, which is 46 minutes. So very much like your traditional television episode runtimes, Sean. What did you think about these? I mean, it's not like your 28-minute long Disney Plus episodes. They're also not like your 55-minute long episodes of like For All Mankind, for example. But they're definitely not 90-minute long movies that Stranger Things was doing. Do you feel like this is the perfect middle ground?
I think this is actually good. Because I feel like more often than not, not usually, so don't get like mad, but like, I think like having over an hour be like, oh, we don't have commercials, we can go a full hour. Sometimes that doesn't benefit it. sometimes it goes too long. It starts to feel like a slog. And the thing is, I feel like this. I think say what you will about how I don't like commercials in my shit either. However, I feel like having 22 minutes instead of a full 30
Fair
minutes
challenge, yes.
or 40 to 45 minutes.
Marvel Cuphead.
It's I feel like one, it's a restriction, and usually restriction is good for, you know, trying to make it all work, and usually it's better. Restraint makes people better, and so I feel like you're gonna have tighter pacing with those 40 to 47 minute run times, and it's just overall gonna feel a little bit better, I think, personally. Now, would I be like mad if it was an hour? No, but like I see, like, you know, Stranger Things season 5 where every fucking, you know, episode was like 2 hours long. I know that actually wasn't the case. I'm just being hyperbolic for argument's sake. But I like how they're not going too far with like hour 10 minutes. Just be like, oh hey, we can do that. No, we're gonna keep it tight, and I much prefer that. So
Yeah, no, same. I think this is the perfect middle ground. I mean, traditionally, when it comes to broadcast and cable television, most TV show episodes were somewhere between 42 and 44 minutes because that accounted for the ad structure. You would have 5 acts, and that meant that, you know, you would have potentially 4 commercial breaks and maybe an end break, which is usually a smaller break that leads into the next program.
it's May
So that all adds
27th,
up.
by the way, is
Yeah,
when
May
it's coming out.
27th it starts airing. So 8 episodes. We know the runtimes now for Spider-Noir. Hello, Watcher. How are you doing, man? So yeah, that looks great. And again, one more time, John, they're just hitting all the right marks with the posters here, whether it's the full true hue color or the authentic black and white. It just looks amazing. These posters are artful, and then these ones look super sexy. Like, I just love the look of the show. So, and the episode count looks pretty gosh darn good too. 8 episodes, and each of them being around 40 minutes apiece. Yeah, I'm all in. This is great. You guys are giving your rankings of streaming services in the chat right now. It's crazy how that's like 4 Nick Cage movies worth of footage. I know, Travis. Right? It is. It is 4 Nick Cage.
And that is definitely a highlight.
Yeah. M2G saying their favorite streaming services are HBO, Apple, Disney, which includes Hulu, and then Amazon also retied them for 3. The Watcher, we were talking about the Jean Grey photo not too long ago. It is real. Yes, we did talk about that. That is a real photo. It is from the movie, and it is a leak. It does seem to confirm that she's playing Jean Grey. Sadie Sink is. And yes, it was enhanced by Gemini, but it's not like it's AI generated. So we did mention that earlier. You know what, Marvel Cuphead, I'm going to save that a little bit later, but for that comment for a little bit later, because we will talk all about the Clayface trailer coming up. But we got to finish up talking about MCU Weekly first, and we do have one more story that we have to talk about on MCU Weekly, John. This connects now to the true street level superhero part of the MCU, which of course includes and is centered on currently Daredevil. So Daredevil Born Again, the showrunner of this series, he recently was talking about all the major deaths that have happened. You know, he was addressing potentially the return of Elektra, as well as, you know, other season 3 villains. There are potentially some spoilers in this article, so just be warned. Nexus Point News were the ones interviewing him about this. I mean, he addresses, you know, the death of Foggy in season 1. He talks about, you know, Bullseye's character and the arc that he's going on, and then also, like, you know, the character deaths that happen in this season. And it does look like, you know, they're going to play out the Dex Ruthless Killer arc. So yeah, and well, it does look like Foggy is done for. Foggy is not coming back, so he did mention that. And I mean, unless they do a bait and switch, but according to the showrunner of Daredevil Born Again, Foggy is gone. So he's gone. He ain't coming back.
Yeah, fucking stupid, but you know, that's where we are.
Yeah, and then when he was asked about, like, could you drop any hints about the next villain of Daredevil Born Again, of course, season 3 in this case, Dario had this to say: you know, there are people who are like, oh God, Matt and Fisk, but I actually feel that Matt and Fisk are getting closer and closer together as time goes by. In terms of, if you look at where they both end up at the end of season 2, it's easy to kind of start thinking about, I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm pretty sure they both end up in the same place. Their battles are more revealed, and that's me talking about it because I've seen like the spoilery photos that Luke Cage himself put out, and where we see Charlie Cox at the end of the season. But Dario was saying their battles, as in Kingpin and Matt Murdock's battles, are more revealing of who they are, and I think that's they're heading towards that set of revelations getting sorely tested, not exactly by each other. So, uh, John, anything that you glean from this? Because he was also addressing, Mike Coulter, Finn Jones, of course, being attached, and he was just saying like, look, it's you're not gonna be able to hide this stuff because they're shooting in the streets of New York, and it's kind of like nice that the fans are in on it, but it's also something that they're accounting for. So moving forward, we do of course get to see Jessica Jones' daughter in season 2 now, and John, that makes you wonder, whether that's Luke Cage's baby too. So, your thoughts on what Dario Scartapane had to say about Daredevil Born Again?
I mean, I'm not gonna
show?
lose sleep over the fact that Foggy is gonna remain dead, but it's like, he's an integral part of Daredevil, like lore. But I get what they need to do, but like, I don't think it was totally necessary. But here we are. We just gotta, move
It
on.
is an interesting question about where Mr. Charles' story might be going ultimately. Apparently, he is connected to what's her name?
Valentina, blah blah blah.
Valentina Allegra de Fontaine or something. Yeah,
that was it.
Julia
Fucking
Louis-
too many names. Fucking like just be like Prince. Boom. There you go. One name. Cher.
Yes.
Boom. Madonna.
Exactly.
Boom. There you go. Easy. Valentina. That. Fuck you and stupid long ass pretentious name. We're just gonna call you Elaine anyway because you're fucking Elaine. You'll always be Elaine. And your shitty ass dancing.
Great stuff. All right, well, that's all the MCU Weekly we got for you guys, and with that, we're gonna keep the ball rolling here because we got some Movie Talk Madness to get into, and boy, do we have some Movie Talk Madness to get into. Let me switch the graphic if I can. Let's do some Movie Talk Madness, John, and indeed, it is Movie Talk Madness. I don't know if you saw the trailer.
I could take a drink and I'd be drunk already with the amount of times you say Movie Talk Madness.
I most definitely saw the trailer for Coyote versus Acme, and this was probably the best thing I saw all day. It starts off with a dig at Warner Brothers Discovery, which then they zoom in and it says, a wholly owned subsidiary of the Acme Corporation, and like read the fine print, everybody. And then they continue on with the tagline throughout the trailer of the film Acme didn't want you to see. And then at the end of the trailer, the funniest thing, I was like laughing out loud in my like evil villain voice of, they said, this movie is being it's like meant to be Acme voiceover, like this movie is being released solely for accounting purposes. Acme does not agree with any of the events portrayed in this film. It's like something to that effect. It's just this trailer is everything and more of what I expected.
Yep.
John Cena looks
like
great,
literally they got handed the perfect marketing ploy
great.
And they're using it to their full effect, and it's chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss indeed. Yes, and that is the Looney Tunes movie we were talking about right here. There you go. Coyote versus Acme, which is being released by Ketchup Entertainment, which is a separate company.
The better ketchup. Fuck the condiment. Overrated. There we go. I said it. I mean, I like. Yeah.
Thank you,
I don't mind. I don't mind ketchup from time to time, but some people's obsession with ketchup is just like I literally just watched a short like earlier today where they were making, ironically, Michael Jackson's favorite meal, and he liked mac and cheese or fried chicken, and it's like, okay, cool. And he like had like a thing of fried chicken, he had a thing of mac and cheese, he had a thing of ketchup, and it's like, oh, he's gonna dunk the chicken in the ketchup, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And then he poured it on the mac and cheese, and I have never, like, that is a hate crime. That is a fucking war crime right there. It's like,
I have tried it. It's those flavors do not go.
They don't go. It's too sweet.
It's
nasty. Like, here's the thing. I don't hate ketchup. Like, usually I put like ranch or like buffalo sauce on my fries, or if like a Big Mac sauce where it's like kind of, like the Russian dressing kind of shit. But like, people's obsession with ketchup, man, it's too far. We've gotten too far. At least with ranch, the obsession is there. At least there's like actual flavors there. There's like, you got dill, you got garlic, you got like stuff, and you got the buttermilk, you got a lot of stuff in there. ketchup is just sugar goo. That's all it is. It's like,
Well-
and then the vinegar hits you on the way out. Like, that's kind of what it is.
Well, but John, as far as Coyote versus Acme
Anyway.
goes, it is indeed true that James Gunn was one of the guys who wrote the story for the movie. And
Yeah,
I'm
he,
so
he
glad
wrote
this was
just a
done.
story and then he produced it, but like that's about it.
Sounds like you were at an impasse. Yeah, Patrick Starr. But ketchup definitely is better on burgers and fries. I agree with you, Marvel Cuphead. I mean, John, you thought you saw the trailer. What did you think about the trailer? Is this gonna be a movie that you'll go see now opening weekend?
Oh, I was already planning to see it opening weekend. Like once it was announced, I'm like, I'm gonna see this opening motherfucking day. One, not just as a fuck you to WB for trying to cancel this, but it just looks like a funny movie. Like it looks genuinely so good. Like it just like we're completing the live action animation Looney Tunes trilogy with Space Jam back in action in this. There are no other animated live action hybrids that Warner Brothers and Looney Tunes has ever done. Right, Dan? Nothing else. There's only these 3 movies. So with that, like you're complete, and it's just like it's so unique. Like the first one was like a sports movie, the second one was like an action satire, and now we have a courtroom drama, and like the Looney Tunes all work in all of them, and it's amazing. And it's just like, you know, in this day and age where corporations are kind of ruining everything, it's kind of nice to have a movie where it's a fuck you to corporations. So you know, and everyone's suing each other nowadays. So you know what? Have a movie on it, and it works.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
This looks it tickled all the right places for me. I can't wait to see this thing. This looked great. Yeah, the movie Acme doesn't want you to see. So I can't wait to see this movie. And the marketing campaign, like you said, it just wrote itself. Yeah.
So anyway, I made this meme a while ago and I wanted to showcase it.
It's a great meme. It's a great meme. And Ketchup Entertainment, they did put out that Looney Tunes movie last year too.
Yeah, Day the Earth Blew Up. That was also really good. That was pure like animation. There was no live action bits in that movie, and it was so funny. It wasn't the greatest thing ever, but it was still so funny. Like it's so you know. I don't think it's gonna make $1 trillion, but it's probably gonna make more money than they did writing it off. I'll say that it made like
I think this movie will make more money than that movie from last year, the other Looney Tunes movie. I think this will be much more successful. It also looks like a better film, much more enjoyable.
Yeah. Now we just need to get Batgirl out of the vault, see how good or bad that is. So
that's a whole different story. I think that's very unlikely, at least not under the current regime. So
the only time, the only way we'll get that is like maybe like when Batgirl becomes public domain in like 2090. So,
but still, the movie itself would still be trademarked by Warner Brothers. It's also that timeline for Batgirl. The movie starts from when the movie was made, so we won't be around for when that time deadline expires. That's like 90 years from a few years ago. But anyway, let's talk about the Warner Brothers Discovery. Speaking of Warner Brothers Discovery, who was originally behind this Coyote versus Acme movie, let's talk about the merger that's ongoing with Paramount. It looks like as we get closer to this actually happening, of course the shareholder vote is happening this week as we speak. This week they're holding the vote for the shareholders of the company to approve the deal. And in the lead up to this, there's been a number of, actions protesting this in this Deadline article. I just read this out real quick because, it's if you are somebody who's not in favor of this happening, then there's certainly some resistance going into that effort. Of course, Senator Cory Booker, who had set up a Senate hearing that he invited David Ellison to, that David Ellison refused to go to because of a death in the family, even though he did show up to CinemaCon pretty much around the same time anyway. So yeah, that senator put out a 13-minute video titled Warner Brothers Paramount Merger, the Corporate Propaganda Monopoly, Ellison Media Cartel Deep Dive. And it does, kind of go into all the ways in which this deal could potentially be problematic. And then the WGA, of course, the Writers Guild, who just signed a new deal with the studios, they gathered a handful of media and antitrust leaders for a Zoom press conference on Wednesday on what they called rejecting the Paramount Skydance bid, why Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders must vote no. So again, publicly, trying to make an effort to get the shareholders to vote no to this deal. Jane Fonda's committee for the First Amendment and other groups announced plans to rally outside the Warner Brothers Discovery headquarters in New York. And then, of course, that will include speakers like New York City Public Advocate Juman Williams, as well as former comptroller of the city Brad Lander, and Oscar-winning documentarian David Borenstein. So, yeah, I mean, the meeting happens on Thursday at 10 a.m. So the next time we talk to you guys on the show, we would know the answer as to whether this, merger would be approved by the shareholders or not, because the vote happens early in the morning. So, yeah, I mean, most likely this will still go through in terms of a shareholder vote, because the vast majority of the shareholders will just want to cash out. They're never going to get a better deal for those stocks that they have. So, I just think, this doesn't really stop them, but at the very least, that combined with, remember that open letter that was written, that was out there in the world from actors, filmmakers across Hollywood, that started out with over 1,000 signatures. Then even last week, by the end of the week, we were looking at over 2,000 signatures. Now that open letter has over 3,000 signatures. So between the open letter that has some of the biggest names in Hollywood attached to it, both who have in the past and currently or are set to in the future work with Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery. So it's not like, they're just names who want to shut the door and burn that bridge. They're just like, we just don't think this works. And yeah, so for those of us who might not want to see this actually happen down the road, then there's at least some resistance. So, hey Ron, how are you doing, man? Jalen saying, wait, so if they say no, then the merger does not happen. Well, yeah, the shareholders have to approve it. But the point is, so many of the shareholders that own the stock of a company as big as this that's publicly traded, they're institutional shareholders. Yes, there's a lot of individual shareholders, but they make up a relatively small percentage. You need to have a majority of the shareholders vote against this in order for it to not happen. And like I said, it just from a financial standpoint makes no sense. If I was a shareholder in Warner Brothers Discovery, I would want to get my money. Why? Because those shares less than 6 months ago for Warner Brothers Discovery were trading at $8 a share. In this deal, you would be getting for the share for a share that you might have bought for $7-8 a share, or that's what it was worth less than 6 months ago, you will be getting $31 per share. You're making almost 4 times the money that you invested into that company. So why would you vote against that deal? So it is a very, very sweet deal. Paramount did overpay, but yeah, I mean, this merger is happening, and I just don't think the shareholders are going to walk away from all that money, individual and
no, of course not.
Shareholders. So
human greed.
Yeah. And I mean, I was reading that article in Variety about how David Zaslav would have preferred to continue being a Hollywood mogul and lead Warner Brothers as an independent company. And they certainly tried to walk away from Paramount. But I mean, at the end of the day, David Zaslav isn't like the Sherry Redstone or Rupert Murdoch, who had a special voting rights with a special class of shares. He's just a hired CEO. Guy. So who runs the company. So the board of the company ultimately has a fiduciary duty to get the best offer and the most money for the company. Mm-hmm. And David Ellison was just willing to pay up. So it was kind of out of their hands at that point, and Netflix walked away, and that was it. So yeah, I mean, David Ellison gets to combine the assets, and we'll see what that turns into. But if you ask David Zaslav, he would like to stick around and can keep doing this work because he liked the glamour of Hollywood. Instead, he's going to be walking away with over $500 million, which I'm sure helps.
So sad.
But the guy already had money. The guy already had money before. So I'm
now he has more money,
and I'm
so
sure he'll be fine. So yeah, I mean, I do think he did a pretty good job.
And now Crybaby Ellison is going to run both studios into the ground.
But my thing is David Zaslav did bring in James Gunn, did bring in Peter Safran. He did hire Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi to run Warner Brothers Pictures Group, and then establish DC Studios. Has sort of put HBO on the path where they've got big IP that are leading the way, including the Harry Potter show, The Last of Us. So and Casey Bloys has been happy under that leadership. So while David Zaslav did make some really unpopular decisions, ultimately, John, I was reading this number the other day. This is the impressive bit, because Warner Brothers Discovery got saddled with $54 billion in debt from the AT&T, spinoff that happened a few years ago. of that $54 billion in the 4 years that David Zaslav and his crew have been in charge of Warner Brothers Discovery, off that $54 billion, they have very aggressively paid down $24 billion of that. To have done that in 4 years, like almost half of that number, is very impressive when you look at like the amount of money going towards just the servicing the debt with the interest on its own, not to mention then actually paying the debt, the principal down. So that was impressive. Now the question becomes, will, you know, the new owners under David Ellison continue to keep, you know, the ship running though as well as it has? Warner Brothers has been the example of the industry the past year. Are they going to continue to be that in a few years' time? So I guess we'll find out, you know, and that's the big question that's on everybody's minds. But we'll leave that there for now. You guys let us know. What do you think about this? Do you think this deal will go through? The shareholders are going to vote to either approve or not approve the deal for Paramount Warner Brothers to combine into one company later on today, depending on when you're watching. Thursday morning, 10 a.m. is the vote. And after that, we'll know whether the shareholders have given their approval. And so next time we see you guys on the show, we'll be talking about it. So let us know what you think about this. In the meantime, we're going to move on to quick hits. So John, with that, let's get to the quicker part of news. I'm going to find that Bossa Nova elevator music, and let's get into the quick hits. You want to walk us through some of the stories that we got on today's quick hits?
Oh,
those are the wrong quick hits.
Those are DC stuff. You said you had quick hits, so I didn't get the quick hits. So
well, can you get the quick hits?
I will get the quick hits. Well,
the Watcher's saying a lot of peeps in Hollywood have a false sense of who Ellison is. He's just a movie nerd with a lot of money at the end of the day. You know, that is something that I've read, and that may all be true. My concern about David Ellison running this huge behemoth is exactly that. If he is indeed just a movie nerd who's a movie producer and a film-loving, you know, man first and foremost, does that mean he's a great businessman? Because he's going to have $79 billion of debt to pay down while making sure that this new company is financially viable, able to continue the success that they have had individually and kind of build on it. That's the tricky part, because you need to be a very shrewd operator on a business level to make sure that this works out at the end of the day. Like I just mentioned, Warner Brothers Discovery paid off $24 billion of their $54 billion that they inherited in debt from the AT&T, spinoff a few years ago. That's almost half of that number. That's impressive. I don't even know if Disney's paid off. I mean, I'm sure Disney at this point, 10 years after having bought Fox, has paid off at least that much, if not more. But to do that much in 4 years, they're going to need to be as good, if not better than that at Paramount Warner Brothers to kind of try to keep, just the status quo alive, not to mention build on that. Because Warner Brothers and Paramount have not been putting out 30 movies a year altogether over the last couple of years. And if that's their goal, they can't just keep things going the way they are. They need to increase that volume, and that's the tricky part. But yeah, I mean, you know what? I do hope the Ellisons prove us wrong, but the skepticism, I think, is warranted. The skepticism is definitely warranted.
Yeah, gee, I wonder fucking why. It's almost like this dude's a fucking nonce.
Yeah. Beyond the Spider-Verse on hold. Is it? No, Beyond the Spider-Verse is not on hold. We talked about it. They're sticking to their release date. That's happening. It's coming out next year. Lord and Miller have been very positive about that. And when you look at the IP that Paramount has, you guys were talking about in the chat, between Transformers, TMNT, Top Gun, now they got the legendary franchises like Street Fighter, and of course Sonic the Hedgehog. They've got some good stuff. It's not quite as deep as the roster of IP that Warner Brothers brings to the table, but I mean, now it's gonna be all under the same umbrella.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, let's get into the quickest, John. Walk us through these.
So One Last Kill, Frank Castle's MCU special presentation, unsurprisingly gets TVMA, the highest fucking TV rating you can go for violence. Shocking. Crazy. Never would have suspected that. Anyway, next up, we have our first poster for Clayface, now the official Clayface
it looks very horror-y.
Looks great. The official Clayface
Instagram account,
movie Twitter page or Instagram page now has an official PFP. I don't think it was. This we would have to look at the darker image again, but I don't think it was that. Anyway, But yeah, this was great. This is a great poster. We're going to be talking about the teaser soon enough. And yeah, it reminds me of that scene from The Matrix where he's like trying to talk and Agent Smith closes his mouth shut. So it kind of reminds me of that. Looks great. Love it. Love to see it. I'm hyped. I'm ready. My body's ready. Oh God, it's just like, I just feel like Gordon Ramsay right now. Finally, some good fucking food. We fucking see Supergirl, and it's like fucking brown ass shit. And then we got Lanterns with its brown ass shit, and now we have, ironically, the brown villain that has the most color. Go figure.
Well, I will say this poster, and we'll talk about it more when we get to DCU Daily, but what impressed me the most so far, the marketing for this, they're not advertising it like a DC movie that happens to be a horror movie. This is a horror movie first and foremost, which I think is the most impressive thing, because that is the way to go if you're going to really truly sell this to horror fans, which is behind the whole financial premise of this movie being made for like $40 million. You want to lean into that genre, and it seems like that's what they're doing with this. So I love it. Yeah. I love to see this.
This is like what was promised in the beginning. Oh, we're selling all of these characters to different demographics, and it feels like we're finally kind of really getting that proper. I mean, yeah, Lanterns is selling to the HBO audience. Supergirl is selling to the Marvel audience, I guess. I don't fucking know, but like, this is like, okay, it's finally, we're seeing different demographics and all that, but people will still complain. Parents will be like, oh, I took my 7-year-old to see this because I didn't do any research and it was scary. Like, yeah, dumbass, not everything superhero is gonna be for your little for little Timmy to fucking enjoy. It's for all ages, bitch. Anyway. But yeah, great poster. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait for people to complain about it, because, you know, comic book fans, they complain about everything. With this, moving on to Miami Vice. Apparently, the new Miami Vice, it's official that Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler are going to be playing the main roles. Don Johnson and the other guy who they played in Miami Vice. I don't fucking know Miami Vice. But I'm going to watch this because it's directed by Joseph Kosinski. And it's also going to be called Miami Vice 85. So it seems like, unlike the Michael Mann film, which took place in the modern day, I believe, this is actually going to take place when Miami Vice originally took place, which was at the
what's the
then
title?
present
Wait, what's
of
the
the
title?
80s.
So it just got a new title. What are the?
Yeah, it's Miami Vice 85. That's it.
Perfect. Miami Vice 85. So I mean, the deals are signed. Michael B. Jordan got the money that he wanted. Austin Butler is also officially signed on. It's great. Good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. And I'm just gonna say this, Mr. Kosinski, there better be enough fucking cocaine on this goddamn set to make Tony Montana blush. Okay? Watching you. Okay? Come on now. Next up, speaking of 80s movie, although I think Copland was 90s, apparently the reverse. Instead of a series becoming a movie, now we have a movie becoming a series. Apparently Copland, a series from James Mangold based on movie Heats Up Marketplace. Robert Levine co-writing, and with obviously Paramount, because now he's at Paramount now, but which is going to get absolved by, going to get buying out Warner Brothers, so he's going to be back at Warner Brothers, and then James Gunn is going to be like, hey, buddy, where's that Swamp Thing movie you fucking promised me, you little bitch? But, and then there's also Miramax. But, yeah, I'd watch this. I mean, I've heard the movie's great, so, yeah, fuck it, I'd watch it. Back when James Mangold made good movies and he wasn't, selling his ass to the highest bidder.
I mean, this is part of the reason why he got the overall deal at Paramount, because he as a filmmaker wants to not just direct stuff anymore. He wants to be involved in these, bigger projects where he's a producer, executive producer. And so, yeah, this is the first of probably many things he's going to be doing at Paramount TV Studios, as well as Paramount Pictures. So, yeah, let's keep going. I did like the Colin Farrell, Jamie Foxx, Miami Vice, by the way.
Scary Movie takes aim at Lionsgate's Michael with new teaser, touching fans everywhere. Isn't it funny?
I saw this. Like, basically, Keenan plays like a version of, parody of Michael Jackson, and it's it's like the humor might not land with everybody. I kind of had fun with it, but I also just saw Michael. I love the movie for the most part. It's not perfect, definitely not as good as what I thought it would be. But they do say the scary movie, like, there are no safe places, and then after the little parody they get into the rest of the trailer, which is basically the same trailer we've seen before. So yeah, it comes out later this year. Scary Movie 6. Cool.
Looks dumb. Anyway, epic viral musical retelling of The Odyssey to become animated movie thanks to Jerry Bruckheimer, Atlantic's Kevin Weaver. So we're not just going to get Sir Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, we are going to get an animated movie musical version of The Odyssey. So honestly, I'm here for it. Jerry Bruckheimer, he might make the same movie over and over again with, like the same 3 ingredients, but you know what? He's a master at it, and I'd watch it. I'd watch the shit out of it. It's unique, it's interesting, here we are. So if somehow Sir Nolan falls flat, which I don't think he will, then we have another one to enjoy. So
yeah, I guess are they gonna call it Epic the Musical? Because it is, that's based on, anyway. Very, very meta joke. Let's keep going.
Hard Eyes 2 will go at 2028 release from Paramount Spyglass. They gotta milk all the little franchises they have, because God knows they don't have any until they finally absorb Warner Brothers. So, yeah. But yeah. This.
That's what I meant. Geek Ledger. Yeah.
I'd watch this. I like the first one. It's not great. Typical fun slasher. I liked Olivia Holt and
the other guy.
The
rom-com
Meeks guy from the Scream
Scroll
movies.
Down a little
Something
bit.
Gooding.
Look at the caption for the photo. I'm
Something sure Gooding. Mason Gooding. I got Gooding. There we
Mason
go.
Gooding, yeah.
I almost said Malcolm, and I'm like, no, that's not right. But yeah, I liked the first movie. Twist was kind of dumb, but I liked it for the most part, and I like how Olivia Holt's coming back and getting work. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah, definitely good to see her getting opportunities outside of her Disney career. So yeah,
and he's actually going to be in good horror movies, so that's also good. Heartstopper movie sets July release date on Netflix. Very cool. Looks like you have the gay guy from Agatha
Kid
All
Connor,
Along.
Well, Kid Connor on the right, and then you have, I forget the name. Is it Joe something? If you scroll down,
Joe Locke.
The name.
I think his
Joe
name
Locke.
is.
And then also, what is the date? It's coming out July 17th.
July 17th.
Heartstopper forever, and it will pretty much wrap up the story. It looks like so. Kid Connor and Joe Locke. I know Fiona's gonna be excited about this. It's a great show. I've seen a little bit of it, and it's a cute show. It's not for everybody. We might not be the target demographic per se, but at least you and I, John. But it's got an audience. So
yeah. Next up, this is all you, buddy.
Speaking of, I was talking to Fiona about this. Of course, they've just announced Drag Race All-Star Season 11, and they've announced the cast for it. Crystal Method's back, which is a big deal if you're into the drag scene. And All Stars is going to be a Paramount Plus exclusive. They just wrapped up a normal RuPaul Drag Race season, so they kind of alternate the All Star season, in between each of the normal seasons. So, yeah, good luck and don't fuck it up. Exactly. So I can't wait to see which of these queens win all the doll hairs, as RuPaul would say. Let's keep going. We'll leave it there for now. But if you guys haven't, this weekend there'll be a lot of content around this announcement. They do all these interviews leading up to the actual show people can watch. So yeah, good stuff. Cool. The Drag Race does not end. They're a year-round thing now. So
Hulu orders The Mob, hosted by Parker Posey from the Traitors producers. I don't know what this is.
Well, it's Parker Posey, and it's a reality show, The Mob. So, and it's from the Traitors producers. So, I mean, lots of crossover appeal, I guess. There we go. Am I hiding behind Fiona? I'm not. I'm hiding behind my cat. This is Georgie. That's who I'm hiding behind right now. Heard you say hi.
But
she doesn't say hi.
Cool. I guess.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Speaking of TV shows, Mariska Hargitay believes Law & Order SVU will get to 30 seasons. Hopes for Benson Stabler reunion. Teases season 27 finale. God, how many sex crimes are people gonna fucking do? Holy shit. Fuck, man. Goddamn.
Yeah, season 30. Okay, so I guess she's sort of set the deadline for when she might finally be wrapping things up. Yeah, we got Georgie in the live stream. She's now hopped off the desk. Okay. Cool. Mariska Hargitay. You know, the joke is she might actually, die on the show itself. Hopefully not, but like clearly she's the last one standing at this point. So, hey, man, it's time.
Not yet.
We did not get to Clayface
We're gonna
yet.
head into that soon.
We're getting there. Yes.
Apparently,
There's a Vince episode.
Sidney Sweeney filmed a scene that would have appeared near the beginning of Devil Wears Prada 2, but a source tells EW that creative decisions stopped that from happening. So,
man, I wanted to see Sidney Sweeney's surprise cameo in this movie that I didn't know about. That is not happening anymore, but we'll probably be on the Blu-ray where we could get a deleted scene. So
it's guys, why are we doing?
John, pause. Can you pause? Pause.
I can't pause.
No? Okay, all right. Then, oh no, you know what? The goodness keeps on coming.
There we go.
There you go. Great. Let's keep going. Let's not
It
dwell
didn't work.
on this.
Okay, I'm sorry. Who's seeing a Devil Wears Prada fucking movie for the structure? Nobody's watching this for good cinema. It's a fucking fun little, like, quirky comedy movie. Who gives a fuck? And plus,
Well, John,
that's the only thing guys are gonna see is this and Anne Hathaway. Those are the only way you're gonna get guys in seats. Why not fucking put Miss Jiggly Tits in the fucking movie? Come on, man. Who acting like this? Oh, it didn't work structurally. I want to see tits. Like, is that too much to fucking ask, bro? Come on.
I mean,
man.
John, talk about great structure. You're looking at it right there.
Yeah.
Talk about structure.
She has great genes.
Yeah.
Like, bro, come on, man. I'm not mad because we still get Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway, main character of the movie, and she's still fucking, hot as fuck, like 20 years after the first movie. So you know what? Here we are.
I know, Chuck Rod. I know. You and I both.
But
Marvel Cuphead's like, I
work
want that.
Structurally, that's such. Just say you didn't want the controversial figure in your fucking movie because of the fucking, jeans commercial. Just say that.
They're
Even
doing
though it's,
another one of those, by the way.
Not even relevant anymore, but still, like, come on now.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Anyway, last quick hit. The Real Nice Guys, Why the World Needs More, Ryland Grace, Duncan, and Superman. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing of Hope Corps is really, kicking off. Like, you have I would say throw Hoppers in there, because that was kind of like a Hope Corps kind of movie. We're all in this together. Hope for the future. All that shit. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with
Ryland
all
Grace,
this.
Clark Kent, and Duncan Jones. Duncan Jones, is it? What was the character name? Sir Duncan.
Duncan Jones is a director. I just know.
I don't know. Duncan something. You know, the knight from that Game of Thrones spinoff. Anyway, it is great because it's hopeful storytelling. Say Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. So yeah. And it leaves you smiling at the end, and that's what we love to see. So
Sir Duncan the Tall, Peter Claffey.
Duncan the Tall. There you go. Thank you for that, Jalen, in the audio in the chat. So, awesome.
Hope Corps.
Hope Corps.
Love to see it. Love to see it. Anyway.
Love to see it.
But that's it.
Love to see it.
Indeed. But yeah, that's it for quick hits, guys.
That is it for quick hits. All right. And with that, we're going to move on to the part of the show that you guys are here for. We're going to get into our Clayface chatter, breaking down the trailer, trying to get into some Easter egg talk. We also have some other news to talk about from DC. So without further ado, John, it's that time. It's DC time.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you really I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
All right, welcome on into another episode of DCU Daily. Of course, we have a lot to get into, as we do every day pretty much. We've got a lot of Clayface talk today specifically because the marketing for Clayface has absolutely kicked off in full gear and a little confusing at times, but you know, they seem to be catching their stride, so we'll get into that. We got some Supergirl talk, we got some Man of Tomorrow chatter, some Lobo talk, so we'll get into all of that and more. To do that with me, of course, I've got John. How are you doing? What are you looking forward to talking about the most?
Clayface, of course. Like, what the fuck else is there? Clayface. I am excited. That was the reason I was like in bed with stomach pains. I'm like, I don't feel it. I'm like, oh fuck. Gotta talk about the Clayface trailer. All right, I'll join the show. Here we are. Clayface. Yep. Come on now. What else? And come on. What else is there to fucking talk about? We're gonna breeze through those quick hits, the Parrots, Ducks, Pelicans of DCU news, and we're gonna talk about fucking Clayface.
Hold on.
Like Jalen DC and horror, like that's the two things I have.
Yes.
Like that's the thing.
No, I hear you. And to answer your question, Jalen, we will be updating the DCU Daily intro. In fact, we're already working on it, so don't you worry. That will get updated. We got to move past the DCEU, add more DCU stuff in there. So there's definitely going to be more of that. It's in the works.
Well, we gotta keep Honka in there for
popcorn
Caleb.
Bucket. Oh no, we gotta keep that in there. Marvel Cuphead saying Clayface had as a popcorn bucket. Would both of you find a good idea? If it melts, then it could be really like something interesting. I don't know. Clayface head as a popcorn bucket would be interesting if you're talking about more of a cartoonish version. Although we'll get into that as well when we talk about the trailer. Stomach pain. Are you okay, John? Jalen is worried about you.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay now that I, took a
we'll
break
also have
between segments, yes. But it's yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's not Morbid time.
Yeah, and we got to change it to MCU Daily at this point because
yeah, we will. Don't you? We're getting
so.
There. But let's talk about the quickest, John. The Ducks, Parrots, and Pelicans of DCU news.
So this is a fan poster made by, I think Venomology is his name, but a very cool poster of a Brainiac tendril grasping around Superman. It looks like a cross between like a realistic but also cartoony version of Superman. So that's cool, and him like punching the air. So yeah, this looks fine. This looks great.
It's a little weird how the shoulder joint there is portrayed for Superman. Like I don't think you can really. I don't know. Like that's Superman. So it is fine. Whatever. Yeah. It's not super anatomically correct, but it's about as close as we can get. But anyway, let's keep going. I like the logo. We talked about it at length the other day. For Man of Tomorrow. So.
Apparently, Jason Momoa's Lobo is seemingly to break the fourth wall in Supergirl, with CinemaCon footage showing him smiling at the camera and giving a snarky wave. I could see that. I mean Lobo is the closest thing that DC has to Deadpool. So that Ambush Bug and Plastic Man are all kind of Deadpool-esque characters. Ambush Bug the most, probably, because he is fourth wall breaking. But Lobo, in terms of more mainstream characters that are popular, he's kind of like that. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And you know what? We will be on the lookout for every Man of Tomorrow set photo this summer. Bulge Watch is definitely returning, so stick around with us. We will definitely be covering it in detail, like we did for Superman a year ago. I mean, Brainiac is a great Superman villain, and we're finally getting him in a live-action Superman movie. So, yes, very excited for that. Let's keep going, though, with the quickest, Sean.
Indeed. Brand new magnets for the DCU's upcoming Supergirl movie have officially been revealed. So we got some magnets. Very nice. Very cool. I like this one. This one's cool.
That one's really cool. I want that one. I would love to put that on my refrigerator. Also, this artwork looks really nice.
This looks
ruthless and feared. All right, Lobo.
Hell yeah.
Very on brand.
Very on brand. Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, all the very cool magnets. But then we have the next last quick hit for now. And apparently Zack Snyder's Justice League just hit #1. So on the, I believe, Indian
it's called Geostar, which used to be
Geostar, okay.
Like they were kind of part of Disney Plus, but then they kind of, separated. So Geo Hotstar is like the biggest streaming service that you have in India, and they have like a bunch of stuff from Disney. They also have obviously HBO, Warner Brothers stuff. So Zack Snyder's Justice League recently just hit the #1 on their rankings in India. I mean, hey, Um, goes to show you people are still watching that apparently. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, good stuff. I mean, you can like it or you can hate it, but there are a lot of fans, in the 1.5 billion population of India. A lot of them love Zack Snyder's Justice League. So yeah. Will we get a Wonder Woman movie soon? Hopefully. It's probably no earlier than 2029 though, so we'll have to wait for that to play out. But in the meantime, we got to talk about Clayface. Those were all the quickest that we had for you, and now we get into the big stuff, the stuff that we're all here to talk about. That is, of course, the trailer for Clayface, which finally dropped today. There was a rumor earlier in the week. They were talking about how it was going to happen on Wednesday, and of course, they were right. John, I want to get your quick reaction to this. Let's dive into the trailer. What did you think about Clayface? It's a bit of a teaser trailer.
Yep.
It's not really, a full story trailer, so we are more or less just getting these vignettes and looks at the character. It's a very horror movie trailer. Like, again, for me, the biggest thing was, but before I let you talk, this movie is being marketed and presented as pure horror, which is exactly what James Gunn said about it a while ago. And to me, that might be the genius of it all, because it's not a superhero movie that also happens to be a horror film. It's first and foremost a horror film. And I think that might really work well in his favor. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is going to get an entirely different demographic. It's going to be a very easy profit because it's like around $40 to $60 million. So that's definitely something, and I love the tagline, "Look fear in the face." I'm like, that's great. I love to see that. But we have the first teaser trailer, obviously the footage, which we will kind of get into, which is set to Flaming Lips, Do You Realize, appears to be a shorter version of the trailer that screened during CinemaCon, which makes sense. And it shows like the attack of Matt Hagen, him bloodied and bandaged. We do have that shot at the beginning of the trailer where all the other cuts are interspersed, which looks very much like a not so subtle reference to Two-Face's look in The Dark Knight. It's like the positioning and bandages is like almost exact. So yeah, this looks what he looks like looks fantastic. We then catch glimpses of like the transformation, the process or whatever in like little quick snippets, and we managed to try and go through those snippets. We'll go through them right here. But we do have, this was the first like kind of, because that's what I wanted to get, like all the things like you had to like pause to see. We have this just relatively normal shot of Matt Hagen. It looks like he might be on the set of a movie. It looks like he's like at a lake or some body of water. So that's definitely something. Yeah. So that's interesting. And then we have him. He's at the premiere of a movie. We don't know if this is pre or post
I was gonna say
transformation, but it looks post.
And the set photos and video showcase him like running off to the side doing this premiere, and like something is going on, which will probably get
and we'll get to that soon. But it looks like he's his movie The Light something. Here is his attack. Trigger warning for blood, by the way. So it looks like in this case somebody's holding him down at the right. So it looks like he's in bed, he's getting attacked. I'm willing to take a guess that it's probably going to be a Roland Daggett-esque character who attacked him in the show, and that's what caused his transformation into Clayface, was like shoveling the clay stuff that he was using to fix his face. So it looks like they're kind of like homogenizing a lot of aspects. Instead of like his face is already fucked up, he uses the clay to make himself look pretty again. And then when he owed money or whatever to the mob, then they tried to kill him with the clay that he used to save his face. That turned him into Clayface. But now the mob, I would assume the mob or someone close to that respect, he probably owed the money or something, and then they didn't collect. They didn't collect. So, they're like, all right, fine. Instead of busting your, kneecaps, we're going to take your face, and we're going to take your moneymaker. So that's definitely, you know, I think that that's definitely a. Is Roland Daggett the character? Yeah, Roland Daggett is the character. Okay. Um, but yeah, I think so. It's essentially they're elongated things, like putting things in different order and all that stuff. So essentially, instead of the horrific incident that causes his face to get fucked up, it's instead of the Clayface transformation. So instead of like it being, because Batman the Animated Series was a 22-minute TV show, so they had to keep things, they had to keep it paced quickly. So now they can elongate things, make it darker, make it creepier. So that's definitely something. Yes, we're gonna we're gonna be getting into that soon. Here he maybe this is a possible reference to the very small time Batman villain Falseface, who was kind of the closest in well, he was a comic book character, and then he was in Batman as in the Adam West show for a couple episodes. He's the closest we got to a Clayface, Two-Face kind of. He was kind of like Clayface and Two-Face combined, because he would use disguises to hide his face, which was kind of like Clayface, but instead of shape shifting, he just kind of disguises himself like a Mission Impossible villain, where they would use the mask to disguise themselves, and then Two-Face, because has face in the title, and he has a facial kind of thing going on. So I'm willing to bet that this is a reference to Paul. I mean, I understand it's also he needs it to so the scars and stuff like remain like on his face, and like shit he doesn't scratch it or take away. So, but I wouldn't be shocked if like Mike Flanagan or James Watkins is a fan and knows all the Batman lore, and we're gonna put in a little tiny reference to this very small Easter egg that not a lot of people would know. So yeah, but
By the way,
yeah.
it does seem like this is the same Clayface we saw in Creature Commandos. I think if you go off anytime James Gunn has addressed it, he has not said that they're like multiple, but he's also not ruled it out. So it'll be interesting to see, how all that ties together. But yeah, continue on, John. Sorry, I just want
We'll
to
see.
chime in.
But yeah, then we have the regenerative surgery, the pink stuff instead of the green stuff, like the substance. Got the pink stuff going into his face and trying to restructure things. So that's definitely interesting. And even though we get like some like test tubes
Not
of like
but yeah,
constructing his face, either something goes wrong or like the experimental nature of it all. It's yeah. Although it's interesting how like it's like, oh, he's called Clayface because like clay, but like, do they use clay in the serum or something? Because like, if it's just like his skin melting, and it's like he's just like
right.
kind of major, like he's just kind of using like extra amount. It's not really clay, so I'm curious how the clay becomes part of it. So
You mean like how he gets? And he's probably gonna be like named that by some like newspaper, and that's probably like the easy way to go about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because it would be weird if he wasn't like a clay monster, but like a skin monster, and he just had extra things of skin rather than it being clay. So I'm curious how they, make it actually. Maybe like clay is like a major ingredient or something. I don't know.
I mean, John, have you seen Bruiser? Because that's
I have not seen Bruiser. It's not John Carpenter. It's George A. Romero. But I have heard of it. A friend of mine really I love George Romero. He makes me look like a chump in terms of George Romero. So he's a big fan of Bruiser. He loves Bruiser. So I might give that a watch before this. So
yeah.
But then we have a skin melting, which looks like a practical effect because it
It's very hard to make that look good, right?
It looks like waxy kind of substance, so like
could be good.
No pun
CGI.
intended. So it doesn't look like CGI. So I would be willing to bet that this looks very practical.
Yeah. By the way, the timeline of this, it seems to. I mean, James Gunn has kept on saying everything you see so far happens in the order it's released for the most part. So I mean, if you're speculating whether this is a prequel to Creature Commandos, that's a question that's yet to be answered. But to answer you, John, the VFX in this trailer looked really good, and like you said, the color. This is a very
and also this is what you were
well-shot
talking
movie.
about. You
Yeah.
can't really see it here. You can see it better
Mhm.
when you're watching the trailer when it's in motion,
Right.
but
Right.
like you can kind of see his face drooping a little bit. It looks weird. So you were right that I wasn't sure, but it's like now that I see the suit and like the same kind of lighting, yes, it's the same night, and so it's definitely post transformation. So
Yeah. I mean, and James Gunn is a big horror fan. Yeah, he is. I mean, he started with trauma and stuff, body horror and everything. So yeah, this feels like this is. I mean, even though this is not something he's directing, obviously he gave it a green light because he believed in the vision and the script that was pitched to them by Mike Flanagan, and ultimately, that's what we're getting here. I also like in terms of the budget of the movie, it looks like every dollar of that ended up on camera. Like you could see it in the footage, so it looks great. The movie looks like it's really well shot, and again, leaning into the budgetary, scope and scale limitations of the film itself. And like you said, John, it does look like it has more color. And when some people say color, I think that what they're talking about is the shot compositions look more well defined, and you're getting that less of that CGI heavy look. So yeah, what you guys were saying, maybe
though,
this could make a bit,
good
a
that
lot more
looks.
money than we
Look at
thought.
that tungsten.
Yeah.
Look at that tungsten, Dan. Look how
Yeah.
fucking good that looks. I love it. I love it. None of that fluorescent shit that's making every fucking movie look like a commercial. This I love.
Also, I like that we're gonna get to see a lot of Gotham City for the first time in the DCU, and so far, this version of Gotham, which even if you go out the set photos we talked about last year, it looks pretty cool. It's a nice mix between like the animated series, as well as some of the other.
It looks a little
recent modern
Burton-esque. It
iterations.
looks a little like Matt Reeves. But it's looking good.
Yeah, and I will say I agree with M2G that I saw this trailer and I really didn't want to watch it a second time because it's a little too.
I've already watched it like 4 times.
I know, but like it looks amazing, but I genuinely got like spooked by it, which I think is obviously the intention. But if I'm spooked by it, then I know the horror fans are gonna love it. So yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Eric is like, if this is Gotham in the DCU, then I fuck with it. Yeah. I mean, well, Christopher Nolan's Gotham City was a bit of, Pittsburgh, a bit of Chicago, a bit of New York, and a mixture of everything in between, as well as what we got in the first movie, which wasn't any of those.
Also,
things.
Dan, you gotta change that logo now that we have a proper logo. So
it's true. We need the new logo on there. Yeah.
But now we have again kind of like what the poster is showing, or it's like Mr. Anderson. You have that scene where it's like, I have no mouth but I must scream kind of vibes a little bit, where it's like his own like skin is like fucking clamping his mouth shut. So yeah, very cool. Very cool.
This is the part where this makes your skin crawl because it's like upsetting and creepy to look at.
It's
but
good body horror.
Yeah,
like we haven't gotten a lot of good body horror movies. Like the only body horror movie we've gotten is Slanted, and that was not.
No, but wasn't there a
good.
movie called Together with Allison?
Yeah, but that was last year. I'm talking about this year
Right,
specifically.
okay, cool. Well,
but Together is a great body horror movie.
Yes.
Yeah. That was definitely the body. We've had a good body horror movie every year for the past couple years. We had The Substance a couple years, 2024. Then we had Together in 2025, and now we're getting this. So, body horror is making a comeback, guys.
Yeah, the Gotham City of the DCU. If this is our first look at it, then it's a promising one for sure.
Yeah, and it makes sense that like in a horror movie we'd get the first look at Gotham, because Gotham is essentially like gothic horror as a city because of how fucked up it is. And I think Watcher was saying this as well. It's like, yeah, this is definitely a city that's gonna fucking need Batman. So yeah, it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be like disgusting, filthy. Ugh, Halloween. Here we are. Are you journaling at me right now? Anyway. But here we have a little bit of Gotham lore. Amusement Mile. I
thought this was like a Green Lantern cameo for a moment, but clearly not.
More green than the Green Lantern trailer. But yeah, we also two things. We have Amusement Mile, and we have clearly a reference to the Joker. It is, I believe, the same makeup that Cesar Romero used to disguise himself in the original Batman show, which was then referenced in The Dark Knight with the mask that the Joker was wearing in the beginning with the bank heist. And then now we're getting it here. And then Amusement Mile is essentially in the comics. It's like, that's, I believe, where the Flying Graysons were. It's like, that's where like all the, like kind of like Coney Island essentially is what it's like, Gotham's version of Coney Island. What are you talking about? The Mummy? I did a review of The Mummy. Did that already. We did that on Friday because that's when I watched it. So go back and watch it. But yeah,
rewind.
But this is also, by the way, Naomi Ackie's character, Caitlin Core, I think her name is
looks
now.
Amazing in this movie. Actually, doesn't notice anything she's done for a while.
The Man Who Laughs. Yep, Amusement Mile is the contingent of Gotham. Yeah, it's essentially, I think that's where the Flying Graysons were when they came into town. So, and like part of that circus. So, yeah, I think it would be very cool to see a Scarecrow horror. I mean, that's like the most proponent of like, I mean, you could do so many like Batman villains as horror. Like you could do Two-Face. Honestly, you could do a more horror-esque Joker movie in horror. You can do Scarecrow, you could do Poison Ivy, like nature, like kind of like Nature Fights Back, like Jaws or something like that. Pretty much any Batman villain would be great for a horror movie. So, take notes, DC. But yeah, next up we have, this looks like the clay that might be being used in that regenerative process. So that's what I was talking about before. I'm like, I think they're using clay because it doesn't make sense that it's like, oh, it's just a random surgery that has nothing to do with clay. And then he's just like, what, is he going to be a skin monster? That makes no sense. So it looks like they are using clay to help the regeneration surgery. So yeah.
This looks amazing. I love this shot. This was like, oh, okay. This also body horror, like definitely makes you.
This one was hard to show because it was in motion, but he's like he's ripping off his glasses, and like kind of what was happening with his mouth before, like his eyes are kind of like shut, like are skinned shut, and he can't like open them. So that's definitely cool. You can kind of see it like on the first eye, it's like totally shut. The second eye, he's like trying to open it. So that's definitely, this was the best looking screenshot I could get, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, by the way, Dynamic Duo is being released theatrically. Just to clarify, M2G, it is confirmed. It has released.
Yeah. I mean, Batman Part 2, Part 1, different universe. That's theatrical. So,
it's gonna be rad.
Yeah, and we have this character. I assume she's connected. Now, if I were to take a guess, like either Matt Hagen owes money to the mob, or he was like, for lack of a better word, this is like a mob boss's daughter, and your boy was putting his dick where it don't belong. So they're like, okay, you mess with my daughter, I mess with you, type shit, and the gabagool gets him. So
I mean, the story that we have seen before, but nonetheless, like again, in this context,
if I were to take a guess, because this character has not been revealed yet, because the only ones we know of
Can't tell who that actor is.
I don't know who it is either, but I know Eddie Marsan is in it. We don't know who he is. He looks, from the set photos, he looked like a mayor or like a politician of sorts. So the only ones that are confirmed is obviously Tom Rhys-Harris, who's playing Matt Hagen. Then we have Naomi Ackie, who's playing Caitlin Core, who is his love interest, and also the doctor that saves him. And then we have Mike Migella, I think his name is, who's
Mike
playing a
Migella,
police detective. So we don't know who this character is, but she looks like she's in like a very nice club. So I'm willing to bet like it's like a maybe like a mob boss owned club, whether it's, the Falcones or the Maronis or whatever the fuck, then, we'll see. But yeah, I'm willing to bet that that's the case.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, so there was a question in the chat about, does this movie have the same cinematographer as Supergirl? Am I wrong about that?
I don't think
Oh,
so.
it is. Okay. No. It is Rob Hardy, who's worked on Supergirl, is also the cinematographer for Clayface. Well, the thing is about, look, even though it's the same cinematographer, it goes to show you that cinematographer is ultimately not the final say on what a movie looks like. So
Yeah,
it's two
because
different
remember,
directors, two very different stories,
cinematographer
two very
does
different
bring a
budgets.
lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like Greg Fraser, that you could see his stamp on his movies. But
Yeah.
also, you have other cinematographers that have a different stamp, but also it has a lot to say with the director and the editor, because you have the director who has their vision, and then you have the editor who's trying to like process that vision, and you have colorists trying to like, oh, we need less of this, more of this. So it's not always like, you know, there is like a sensibility to cinematography. Like you could tell like a Sir Roger Deakins movie what it looks like, because he has like this familiarity across most of his movies, but they still are different because they're under different directors, they're under different editors that are like because that's the whole thing. Teamwork makes the dream work, baby. So it's not just a one-man operation. It's, well, unless you're Markiplier, but that's beside the point.
Well, but still, the director ultimately gets the final say. So the director's influence definitely leans heavy. So you can have the same cinematographer, but because it's also like they're two movies with two very different budgets. They're two movies with two very different kinds of characters and subject matter. One takes place in this grimy Gotham City. The other takes place across multiple planets and in the cosmos. And one will feature a lot of super powered characters. The other will not. Two different sets of actors, two different genres essentially, so a lot of those things matter ultimately.
I don't have friends, I got family.
Yeah, family. To answer Marvel Cuphead's other question, do you think Clayface will have an after credit scene? Post-credit scenes are kind of hard to pin down because so far we've only seen James Gunn do a movie in this world, and he's not a big fan of doing ones that are actually, well, he will do them, but he doesn't want them to have any story significance. They're just like little one-off gags. Will we get one here? If they're trying to hint at a Batman future movie, then maybe, but it's too early to tell, honestly. I feel like that's a question we're gonna wait to answer till later. Mayor Hamilton, do we get to see a mayor in this movie?
No, he's saying like Eddie Marsan kind of looked like a mayor character. That's what
yeah, from the set photos, right. I don't have friends, I have Clay. Yeah, good one, Chuck Rod. Marvel Cuphead earlier was talking about how Clayface movie, he hopes it will transform into a giant clay monster that we see in Batman Arkham games.
Well, that might be the case. I mean, this was another quick shot of like a ship coming in. That's interesting. I don't know what that means, but we
also,
do see more of Gotham.
The skyline of Gotham City again. The
So that's why I wanted to include this, because we see, and it's very like industrial. Like that's a very interesting kind of vibe for it. I kind of like that. So,
dude, also that bridge looks like closer to the size and scale of the Golden Gate Bridge than any bridge New York City actually has. Yeah, you look at this image. And that like Gotham City looks even bigger than maybe like New York City in some ways, and that skyline is the perfect mix of like you've got, it looks much more like the Gotham City as portrayed in the Penguin and somewhat like in the Batman, even though this is part of the DCU and not the Batman Epic Crime Saga. But the Gotham cities between the two do look kind of similar structurally and thematically. So yeah, this looks great. This is an underrated shot in the movie that I think you just pause and just look at the detail. Not to mention, you get to see like there's a bunch of skyscrapers being constructed in the distance, while you obviously get to see like the more older buildings in the foreground, and you see more of the modern skyscrapers in the background. Yeah, this looks great. This looks like the kind of city that I would like Batman to explore in much more detail. The DCU Batman. Yeah. We'll talk about the poster in a bit. We will definitely get to that. Don't worry.
Here, we have your boy trying to avoid people. Now, I'm willing to bet that this is pre-transformation, because how I was saying the girl screaming, it looked like she was part of a club. So I'm willing to bet that this is the club he was in. It was a strip club, and maybe he was
look at the triple X's in the background,
Triple X got, a sign that says girls in the foreground. So this is clearly like a strip club or a gentleman's club. So with that, the person he was seeing was probably, someone connected to the mob and they didn't like that. So yeah, and he's also trying not to be seen because he's like famous actor. Oh my god, he goes to strip clubs. We don't like that anyway.
Yeah.
And then
I mean,
here we
Killer
have
Croc is probably still watching BET in this universe, but
oh god. And then we have someone getting attacked. It looks like it's like you want to know how I got these scars, and then they and then it looks like he's trying to rip his mouth. So that's definitely really
serious?
Ew. But yeah, then we have the main you got Tom Reese Harris and the main love interest as well doing their thing. Very cute.
I like it. I'm liking Naomi Ackie being a part of this movie more and more. Yeah.
I mean, I would Rupert Thorne makes sense because they probably want to avoid the Maronis and the Falcones because
that recently, yeah.
Because they have that in the Batman, so they're like, all right, let's get another mob boss, Rupert Thorne. Sure, that works. And then typical screaming in the mirror, very very nice. And then probably the best shot in the whole trailer.
This was the
spiked hand that Clayface uses, and later in the trailer, I didn't grab a shot of it because I wanted this one. He fucking clobbers someone with it, and ooh, amazing, brilliant, love it. Bet like my friend was like, they were like, I was so fucking happy when I saw that. So that was great.
That was great. I did not miss that on the one time I saw this trailer. That was great.
Then we have, if you remember, the guy that was attacking him in bed, same bald guy with a beard. Yeah. He's attacking him now. So
karma's a bitch,
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he's getting thrown out of a window, or he gets pushed out of a window, or he falls out the window. And then this was the shot that it ended on where he fucking removes his entire face.
That was like, the creepy crawlies body horror feeling. Yes.
Yeah, and it's coming out, if you forgot, it's coming out October 23rd. Wanted to include that in there just in case.
Also love the font. Yes. This is giving you that.
It's like, it's kind of melting too, so that's very cool.
But that's great, but the font itself looks very, Steven, what am I thinking of? Slate, give me a hint. The Shining and stuff. It's giving you it is a great shot. Let me go back to that shot for a moment. Stephen King, that's what I was trying to get at. God, brain fart. But the font of the movie's logo definitely gives you that Stephen King vibe, and this shot, oh god, this is probably the shot that made me not want to watch this trailer more than once. But I mean, obviously you have looked at the stills and everything for so long. Rupert was in Creature Commandos, so yeah, he helped create Dr. Phosphorus, exactly. So he's technically already canon to the DCU. This shot was like, ugh. Oh, it was like, that was my reaction. And there were a few shots like this in the trailer. Definitely a few shots like that. Just like his face, the letters. It's kind of like when you watch the Batman trailer for the first time, the way that logo got integrated, that animation, and that typeface looked really cool. Integrated into the movie's themes and colors. They did the same thing here with Clayface. This is hitting on all cylinders for a movie that they're spending a fraction of the budget that they spent on Superman and even Supergirl. They've got the right, they've got the right, just fundamental approach, all the right pieces in place, and they've got the right idea for how to promote this movie. And whether it's going to make $1 billion or not, I don't know, but nobody saw that the Joker could have made $1 billion, and it did. Could this catch fire the way Joker did? It will be interesting to see. Eric saying all the fonts look great, man. It's coming together. I want to see the Elseworlds logo, though unless there is no Elseworlds. Well, they do have an Elseworlds logo, right? Didn't James Gunn publish that a while ago? We'll probably get to see it in the Batman Part 2's trailer. So the Watcher saying Clayface is going to have his eyes fall out. He's basically falling apart the whole movie. Well, I mean, the trailer definitely shows some of that. So that's definitely true. MTG saying why this has a great chance of being a big hit. If it weren't a comic book universe related movie, I wouldn't dare watch this type of horror. That's true, but at the same time, I think it's also because this movie looks like a really good horror movie unto itself, and then being part of the DCU gives it that extra mainstream appeal. So I think they knew that if this movie was going to succeed at any level, you need to lean into the horror aspect of it and draw in the horror audience, because they can look at this and not feel like this is just a superhero movie that is meant to look like a horror movie. This feels like it's a horror movie first and a DC movie second. And that's going to draw in the horror crowd. And then you add the fact that it's a DC movie and could have hints and Easter eggs and connections to the larger DCU and Gotham City. That brings in the DC fans and then other comic book fans. So they're going about it the right way. And I mean, Matt Reeves is an executive producer on a lot of pretty much anything to do with Batman. So yeah, I'm sure he had a part to play in this in some way. I think he's an executive producer on this as well. Marvel Cuphead saying I'll probably watch this movie in IMAX because Clayface will be a good movie. Yeah. I mean, October 23rd, there will be IMAX screens for this movie for sure. Yeah, $1 billion feels a bit of a reach, but it doesn't need to do anything close to that to be successful. Like even if it does a third of that, I think that would be great for Warner Brothers and DC, of course. No, the Batman Part 2 is not DCU. That's not happening. It's not happening. But yeah, I mean, they'll probably do other Elseworld stories outside of the Batman Part 2. That we'll get through those. We just don't have many of those announced right now, right? So, or some of them might be in the works. Like the sequel to Constantine will probably be Elseworlds, that Keanu Reeves keeps talking about. There's a bunch of other projects like that we've talked about over the years that feel like Elseworld stories. Dynamic Duo is Elseworlds because the origin of those Robins will be likely different from the ones in the DCU. So there's that as well. Let's see. Let's keep going here. October 23rd, of course. Yeah, there you go. That's your release date. Also, you can see here, 6th and Idaho is the production company for the director. Or no, actually, I think 6th and Idaho might be Matt Reeves' production company. And then you got, of course, DC Studios, Warner Brothers Pictures. So that's that. This was one of the most disturbing and yet one of the coolest shots of the trailer. This, again, just the visceral vibe of this film. Like it is very atmospheric. It feels almost Spielbergian in some ways, the way this movie is shot. Not every shot, but a lot of it. But going back to this shot right here, if there's ever a reason to wonder whether this movie is going to be connected to the Clayface that we see in Creature Commandos, this shot is the closest evidence of that. So yeah. Jalen saying, I'm shocked we have yet to hear about any new DC projects yet beside the Batman Part 2 and Man of Tomorrow. Well, it goes to show you that James Gunn and Peter Safran have got it clamped down pretty tight. It's stuff. I mean, there've obviously been stories about things that are in the works, but as far as official dates and confirmations, we haven't quite gotten as much of that. So they're controlling the narrative, which is what every studio wants to do. So they're succeeding on that front. Hey D. Cole, yes, we are talking about the trailer for Clayface, and if you tuned in just now, then be kind of rewind because we went through a lot of the trailer already. Yeah, that last shot, Johnny, it messed me up. That's what I was saying. I watched this trailer once, and then I was like, I don't know if I can get through this again because like this stuff is like just makes my skin crawl. So yeah, I mean, we did talk about Jean Grey earlier, D. Cole. Yeah, so Jalen, I mean, yes, you're right. Creature Commando Season 2 is coming out potentially next year. They're working on it now. Mr. Miracle, they're working on, they've already done the casting. They've already done, been voicing it in the sound booths. The Jimmy Olsen show is definitely in the works. Booster Gold had a bit of a setback recently, but that's still in the works somewhere. Blue Beetle seems to be, somewhere in the development. So
yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah. But I mean, John, anything else you wanted to add to this? Of course, we were talking about the font when you took a break there for a second.
Yeah, it just fuck. This looks so good, bro. This fucking looks so good. Yeah. I was hoping that like it would be a little bit more horror-esque. Like it's not just like it's like the clay over his face, but like he grabs his face and then he like grabs it and it falls off. And you could see the blood and muscles under it. That would have been awesome, but.
The sound design in this trailer is what made it so creepy and disturbing to watch.
Sound design, bro.
It's top notch. It's
amazing.
Love the music
Again,
choice
teamwork
and
makes
sound
the dream
design was
work.
great. Yeah. This shot could be a poster. I mean, it could have been in the thumbnail. I just didn't know if that was, YouTube friendly enough, because this, I mean, obviously the trailer's on YouTube, but it made my skin crawl. It's made my skin crawl. But let's keep going here, John, because do you have any other shots from the trailer itself you want to go through?
Yeah, the one I wanted to get into, that's just the horror fan in me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did want to talk about the shot of him running, because there was like a really good, I was trying to explain it, but hang on, I'm just trying to find the perfect.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, okay. So
here it is. One thing, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
This is the shot of him running. This was like when the face was like kind of falling off, and you can like kind of see it towards the end a little bit, like ever so slightly, and that's what I was trying to show. Obviously, it's very dark, so you're gonna have to light it up. But yeah, it's like you can. I think the two. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Johnny, the face pull looks so photoreal. Again, the VFX looks really, really good. And it's the fact that it kind of blends in. It looks photoreal. That's the ultimate, flex when it comes to good VFX. So, I mean, yeah, multiple people calling out that it looks like it kind of reminded you a little bit of Darkman.
Yeah, like I've seen a couple people post about, the comparisons to the comic and this. Yeah. And everyone thinks this is the shot from The Dark Knight where it's like Two-Face, and it's like, it's Clayface.
A little bit, yes, yeah.
But it's like you could tell, like, I mean, it's not Aaron Eckhart, and it's it's not divided. Like, hello, come on now. But
I mean, it's even more disturbing because again, he's got to like portray his anger, agony, and despair all with just one eye, really, and it's just great acting. Yeah.
But yeah, I think what?
John is not from New Jersey.
Ew, sure. Gross. I'm not from New Jersey. Get the fuck out of here. But yeah. But to get into like some other stuff outside of the trailer, the synopsis did get revealed, and it says this: Clayface tells the terrifying descent into the hell of a promising Hollywood actor who has become a monster driven by revenge, an intense story that explores the loss of identity and humanity, the ravages of toxic love, and the dark side of scientific ambition. So it's kind of bringing
read it again. Hold on. This is very
Clayface tells the terrifying descent into hell of a promising Hollywood actor who has become a monster driven by revenge. An intense story that explores the loss of identity and humanity, the ravages of toxic love, and the dark side of scientific ambition. So it's very much like you kind of have The Fly in there a little bit, where it's like, if he didn't get drunk and fucking get into his teleporter, then, he wouldn't have merged with that fly.
Exactly.
But yeah, so it's like you have the idea of like, the Caitlin Core's character, or maybe it's like kind of like a situation of like falling in love with your patient, like Florence Nightingale effect. So, it's definitely an intriguing look. It definitely does. It seems like this is truly the Atlas of DC 2026, where it's just like, all right, we got to deal with Supergirl and fucking lanterns because it's the only thing that Tom King is not fucking a part of. So we're actually gonna get good shit from this. This is.
You know what I was gonna say though? Like if I didn't know any better, if I just read this as a paragraph randomly anywhere else. I knowing what we know about, at least if I had just watched the trailer and then read this the synopsis, this could have been the synopsis for Morbius in a lot of ways. Except, obviously that didn't work out really well. So I'm not drawing a direct comparison. This looks way better. I was just wanted to say, John, to me, this was a 9 out of 10 teaser. And this was definitely the best first teaser trailer to any DC property that we have seen since Superman.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, 100%. And like you said, I think you were getting at the same thing, but I just wanted to kind of
like draw the 10 out of 10 for me. Again, I'm the horror guy. Like hello. I got my Evil Dead poster, which I'm seeing in a couple days. And then I have my Thing poster. I have my Mummy poster. You can't really see it, but it's behind clothes right there. But right under Eli Manning there when he beat the Patriots for the first time. Good times. And then I think I have an It Chapter 2 poster behind my dresser over there. And then I have, like, you can kind of see I have like a scratch off poster the next right under the two posters there, right above the Accountant 2 poster, where it's like all the horror movies you see, you scratch them off. And I've seen the vast majority. I think the only ones I haven't seen are 2 Roman Polanski movies, because gross, Roman Polanski, and then another movie I refuse to watch because it's too gross. And I'm saying that. So I have a lot of horror memorabilia in my room. I have a Thing shirt. I have a Halloween shirt. I have all the things. So,
Yeah, I was just gonna say to what Manus Time is saying. Look, comparison is the enemy of joy, right? It's just because this movie has amazing cinematography has nothing to do with what the cinematography for Man of Tomorrow is going to look like. And you got to remember, James Gunn is working on that movie. He's got a certain bar for quality, and we know what James Gunn's movies tend to look like. I think it will be just fine. That movie also has a huge budget. James Gunn likes to film a lot of it in camera, and I think that, we will be in good hands there. And until we see it, there's no point in worrying about it. So enjoy each movie as it comes. Like we can love Clayface for what it is, and we can love Man of Tomorrow for what it is, and there will probably be very, very different movies between the two of them. Look, I'm a Patriots fan, so it is what it is, and I know there's a lot of people that hate the Pats. It doesn't change the fact that we have 6 rings, and most other teams don't even have half as many in that period of time.
The Steelers have 6 rings, so like, calm down there, buddy.
Yeah, but like the Steelers, it's the Steelers, like Pittsburgh. Who the fuck wants to live in Pittsburgh?
It's better than Philadelphia. I'll give them that. Not by much, but
Is it though? And I don't think very highly of Philadelphia. Boston's kicking their ass right now in the playoffs.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Anyway.
I wouldn't use Philadelphia as my toilet.
I've used the toilet in Philadelphia before though.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have too.
Yeah.
The only good thing to come out of Philadelphia is Rocky and cheesesteaks. That's about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, Bill Belichick's gone. I mean, Mike Vrabel is in hot shit right now, but like whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna remove the memories of all the little snot-nosed brats that made fun of me for fucking being a Giants fan because the undefeated Patriots were gonna No, fuck you. I'm not gonna fucking remove my hate. Fuck the Patriots. Fuck that shitty ass fucking team. Fuck Belichick. Fuck Tom Brady. Belichick can gargle my left nut. Tom Brady can gargle my right nut, and the rest of the Patriots team can choke on my cock. How about that? Fuck them, okay? Fuck them. Bullshit. Yeah, Tom Brady might be a lot of things. Patriots, America's team, greatest team. You know what they'll never be? Un-motherfucking defeated. So take that and shove it up your ass. How about that?
Still got 6 rings.
6 yeah, you take the 6 rings and shove it up your ass, because guess what? None of those are undefeated, so... there you go.
What is that? But like...
Anyway, we're here to talk about Clayface. We're here to talk about Clayface. Okay.
What is this? Like, I don't understand the rudeness of all this. But anyway, let's get back to Clayface.
But Clayface, good time, great trailer.
I will say what Enterprising mentioned earlier. It does look like he's in a tub filled with clay, not water. At least clay.
I don't see any water, but I don't see any clay either. Like, I don't see anything else.
It just looks kind of more visceral than maybe even the shot is hinting at. So yeah, that's wild. So ready for the NFL. See, now the whole chat's become all about
sports. Ew, gross. My worst enemy. Anyway.
See, John's not even a football fan, really. Like, so it's like whatever. Like, I digress. We're moving on. Ron loved the trailer, and so did we.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's gonna be awesome.
Because you don't see his right shoulder. His right shoulder might. I mean, it's very possible that could be.
He's like melting into the tub.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what, Ron? That's a great point. This is what we want to see from the diversity of DCU content and stories that they want to tell. You go beyond the Kryptonian stories. You go beyond just your average Gotham City. This feels like the best kind of left turn that you could take in terms of giving us something completely different. And it wasn't something that James Gunn came up with. It's just Mike Flanagan blew them away with the pitch, and obviously they've executed on it about as well as anybody could have asked for. So, yeah, victory mind sublime, indeed. Well, John, we did talk about the synopsis. Can we go back to the poster for a moment? I know that some of you guys were asking about this. I think you had the poster somewhere, but I just wanted to see if you could dig into that one more time. Again, I just feel like this looks like, the font looks like it's a Stephen King movie. It feels like everything about this poster screams to you that it's a horror movie. If you remove the DC Studios logo, you would be thinking this is like an A24 or neon horror film. Like, you wouldn't think this is a DC movie. And that, to me, I think is the most impressive thing, that this looks like a great movie unto itself before you get into the fact that it's a DC Studios film. To answer your question, Manos Time, do you think that if Clayface does well, Marvel would release a real horror movie in theaters? Werewolf by Night was close, but not theatrical. Multiverse of Madness had elements, but wasn't full of horror.
Hey, see, somebody else referenced The Matrix. I'm not the only one.
No, I got that reference too. Yes, I definitely saw that.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson, yeah. To answer your question, Manos Time, I think you can open the door. The rated R Deadpool movie opened the door for Logan. And then, of course, Disney did Deadpool and Wolverine, and now it's opened the door for doing Daredevil and its TVMA nature. So it could definitely open the door for Marvel experimenting with more true rated R horror movies. But this would be the very first true horror effort that DC has done in a long time, or if ever, because that Trench movie that James Wan once upon a time wanted to make as a spin-off of Aquaman, that fell apart, and that would have been a proper horror film. And this is now finally, like, in a different universe and in a different, part of the DC universe happening. And it's good to see that, because again, the Justice League Dark movie never went anywhere. We might get a Constantine 2, we might not, but none of those would feel as much of a horror movie, and the body horror that this looks like. And yeah, David Cronenberg style, definitely. That's another reference I've seen people talk about. I mean, JL Dark is probably years away at this point if they ever do it in the DCU. But yeah, Marvel also usually plays it safe. So doing an R-rated movie, I mean, they're probably going to be more open to it if they see this succeed, but I don't think that's a guarantee of anything. Your lips to God's ears, Enterprising. The script is out there for JL Dark. I know. John, have you read that script, the Justice League Dark script that exists in the wild? The Guillermo del Toro was once upon a time being courted to produce.
I gotta check to see if I have it. Hang on. Because I do have a ton of like script stuff, so
yeah. Well, in the meantime, John, let's talk about the other photos that they reposted on the Instagram account for Clayface, because not only did they put the poster up,
I have a couple different versions of it.
Yeah,
I have a Dark Universe written by Michael Gillio, based on the Guillermo del Toro treatment. And then, another Dark Justice, this time the screenplay written by Doug Liman and Gary Doberman. The story, again, it was based on Guillermo del Toro's treatment, but this was when Doug Liman took over. So I have both of those. And then, and then I have that one. So yeah, I have so many different scripts of unproduced movies. So yeah, good stuff. I even have, fun fact, I didn't even know that this was a movie, but I mean, maybe it was real, maybe it wasn't. But I even have a Bizarro Superman movie script in my possession. So I'm like, damn, all right. I have so much, like, when they tried to make like a Preacher movie in like the 80s and 90s, I have like a bunch of the old Shazam scripts when they tried to make a Sandman movie in the 90s, when they tried to make the Sergeant Rock movie from the 80s, when they tried to make a New Gods movie in the 90s, the Bruce Wayne pilot before it became Smallville. A lot of stuff. I have a lot of scripts. So good times.
That was a hard left turn.
I even allegedly have the Justice League 2 treatment by ya boy Zach.
Zaddy. We will make it. says James Gunn and crew. But John, let's talk about the 3 posts. Remember yesterday we went through all these promotional photos on the Clayface Instagram account. They deleted all of them, and then they posted the poster, which we just looked at, and then they started reposting these images, except they're all melting. And I'm like, either that's on purpose and that's part of the marketing and how everything on the channel kind of got revamped, and the logo got added to the channels, the Instagram accounts profile photo, or this is just part of the viral marketing that they deleted those posts and now posted these melting versions. What did you make of these? It definitely feels like, again, it's not just a simple Photoshop filter. It very much is in line with what we're seeing in the movie trailer too.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's definitely like the part of it is like kind of melting from the side. So there's that as well. Like it's like kind of like going in on itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks damn good.
Yeah, I like this. I mean, I was not at first glance, I was like, I kind of like the not melting ones, but I like what they're doing here because, again, thematically, this works really well. And this is, something that's probably not costing them nearly as much as if they were, putting a trailer out at the Super Bowl or doing a big marketing campaign around it. This movie will have more of a guerrilla marketing campaign because, again, it's not being produced at the same budget level as a Superman or Supergirl. So doing stuff like this, it doesn't cost a lot of money, but it has the intended effect because we're talking about it and we're not the only ones who were talking about it. It was all over social media. But yeah, I mean, your overall thoughts on how this marketing has kicked off, this campaign. It looks
great
impressive.
Campaign. It's better marketing than Supergirl right now. So
yeah, which they've been marketing now for months, and this is like day one out the door, and this looks great. What are your expectations now for Clayface based off this teaser trailer?
Through the roof, even higher, even greater.
Box office. Tell me box office, because I feel like that's a measurable metric. What are your predictions for the box office? Way too early still, I feel like, but how much money do you think this movie makes based on the trailer now?
I think it'll make maybe like $200 million, which, considering it's a $40 million budget, I think that's a good amount. 200 to maybe 300 million. Again, I'm gonna go lower. I think on the low end, I'm gonna say 200 million, and then maybe on the high end, like 400 to 450. If we're being nice, if this is getting really good word of mouth and it's really good, then but yeah, I mean, it's a horror movie, so it's gonna make a profit no matter what. But at the same time, it's not gonna be like fucking astronomical like Superman. So
yeah. Ron, I don't know if you want to note these down. Ron saying
all right, gotta note the Clayface ones now.
Ron saying 200 to 300 million. M2G saying 250 to 350. I'm assuming million. Enterprising saying 500 million if it's good. Okay. So what about if it's not good? I mean, so far no indications as to why it would not be good. Oh, cat butt. Madness Time saying, I don't know if I would say that Supergirl has a worse marketing than Clayface. The issue is that it's so Gunn and Tom King coded, whereas this feels new, so it equals more impact to fans. That's a really good point. This feels like well, if you know James Gunn's work over the years, and if you've seen Trauma and his other body horror movies, then this does have some James Gunn elements as well, but still very different from the recent stuff that he's done. So it is, feeling fresh and different for a lot of fans. M2G saying 450, or saying the horror elements will prevent it from making 450. All right. Jalen is going for the Billy. He's saying it's gonna make $1 billion. So that's Jalen's prediction. Enterprising is saying 200 million. Okay. Well, Jalen's, clearly a big fan. And Chuck Rod is saying 1 billion. All right. Chuck Rod is all in on it. $1 billion. Stacy, don't you worry. David Ellison will have nothing to do with this movie because he won't even be in charge of Warner Brothers by the time this movie comes out. Yeah, go big or go home, Jalen. My prediction right now, based on this trailer, and again, it's still way too early, but I would say you're looking at probably 300 to 350 million at the box office. That's probably right now the ceiling. Could that go up? Could it catch fire like Joker did and make a lot more money? is possible, but right now that's where I would, look at it. Yeah, Ron saying not making $1 billion. So
No, I don't think it'll make $1 billion.
yeah. All right. Well, Clayface comes out October 23rd.
What's your prediction, Dan? You didn't make a prediction.
I said 300 to 350.
Oh,
I was talking about me. Man of Time saying if people want to see a nice Halloween movie, this would be that movie. Yeah, it's that prime Halloween, time slot or slot on the calendar, because while it's not the weekend of Halloween, October 23rd has been a big that's been the date, that week before Halloween, that a lot of big horror movies come out in recent years. So for Warner Brothers to move Practical Magic 2 out of the way and move Clayface into that spot, I think is a great sign of their confidence in this movie, and DC Studios is clearly delivering. So now that we've seen the teaser, it looks like they knew what they had on their hands, and it looks like they've got a hit on their hands. So I can't wait to see more trailers for this. John, I guess maybe the one prediction we can end on, when do you expect to get a full story trailer for this movie? Do you think that's coming out anytime soon? Because obviously Supergirl is still the next movie on deck in June, and this doesn't come out till October. With Comic-Con coming in the middle of all that.
So
I just got smacked by my cat.
So it's April, right?
Yeah.
We could get it around the time Lanterns comes out, and then we'll get a final trailer in maybe September, October. I think that's maybe that's too late, because they said No, I think Jalen is right. I think July makes the most sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's height of stuff, a lot of blockbusters, so they want to, sell their movie during then. So
yeah. I'm getting smacked by my cat while you're talking about all this stuff. This is crazy. You guys saw that, right? I was getting assaulted by Georgie. She was like, literally, she like comes up and then he just smacks you in the back of your neck. Yeah, she wants my attention. Yeah. So Enterprising saying 500 million if it's good, 200 million if it's bad. Yeah. You guys are throwing out Why would Clayface have a catchphrase? Clayface is a tormented villain character. He's not exactly providing his services. So yeah, that kitty was testing her right hook. She caught me a few times. Now she's coming at me from probably like the underhook. Like she's like, boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Anyway, it's Clay time. That's pretty funny. I wouldn't mind if there were to be a catchphrase for Clayface. It's Clay time would be a good one. Okay. I think that's it. We got the predictions in. Lay into Clay. Yeah, that's like, that's that kind of moment where you're like, oh yes, could get in that car and run away from the scene in a horror movie, or go into the haunted house moment. Lay into Clay. No, I'm not gonna lay into Clay.
That's like, that would be the new Morbin time, where it just would be like, lay into Clay. I'm like, come on, bro. It's Claying. Yeah, there you go. There it is.
She's purring in my ear. You see that, right? What are you doing? Oh my god. Okay. Lay in Clay? Now lay in Clay is something completely different. That's like, lay in Clay is probably something I'm trying to protect I'm about to get assaulted here.
This is why I don't like cats.
This is crazy. I'm just glad this is all on camera, because it's not just all in my head, like sometimes you wonder if you were wrong for
She's
like
walking
not wanting
away.
to get attacked. Yeah. You guys saw that. I'm glad the world sees this. I'm so happy that there's photographic evidence of me getting assaulted by my cat. Anyway, I think we're gonna wrap it up there, John. I don't know if there's anything. Oh, Antonio's here. Hi, Antonio. It's been a while, man. Hit the like button. Holy shit, I did not think you were gonna be joining us, but Antonio Baker, welcome on back. Tune in more if you can. We love seeing you in the chat. I don't have a spray bottle near me. I should get one though, because that might help.
Yeah, you need one.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, let's not do another Catwoman movie. Jesus Christ.
I will take anything with Halle Berry though. I would totally. Yeah, Jordy, wants to go to bed, and she's wanting me to go to bed so that she can go to bed. Yeah. Where are you guys at CinemaCon? No, we weren't at CinemaCon this year. I think the goal is to try to get at least one of us out there next year. I was too busy, and I mean, John had other things to do, but that is the goal. So maybe next year one of us will make it out there. Then that person will be in charge of just like staying up all night talking about the panel every night after they go to the panel and everything in between. But yeah, all right. Well, Clayface, the trailer is out now. Teaser is out. John gave it a 10 out of 10. I gave it a 9 out of 10. A lot of you guys probably gave it something similar. And it looks like the most promising thing DC has done all year. The marketing is off to a better start than Supergirl and the Lantern Show. I would not think that's what we would be talking about this year. But until
I expect
tomorrow, when we will be back, John did. But until tomorrow, when we can get back to you guys with another DCU Daily episode, we hope you have a good evening. Paramount, Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders vote in the morning on the Paramount deal, so we'll talk about that tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have more marketing for Supergirl, a lot more Clayface fallout from the trailer, and of course anything about the MCU and all other things that we usually talk about. And Liz is currently still in France, so whenever she's back, she'll be back on the show. She's heading to Boston
Fucking
Comic-Con
all the French himbos, all that shit.
Yeah.
I will
all of
ban
y'all
you
lay
if
into
you say
clay.
lay into clay one more time.
Lay into clay. Lay into clay. No, I prefer to lay pipe. But anyway,
you know what I prefer, Dan? I prefer to be #blessed.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka!
Fuck Tom King, David Ellison, and Jeff Snyder.
For Lay into Clay?